Okay. All right. There we go. Good. Damn. What is it? 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock, right? We hit 7 o'clock.
Good morning, bro. I'm like, let's
Yeah. I
go.
was about to say good morning, everybody. You know what? Fuck it. It's morning somewhere. Good morning. Good evening. Good night to everybody. Good night to everybody. How's everyone doing? My name is Silvers. Of course, you know that. You saw my channel. And I'm here to do another Sniper Island sit down, which, damn, I love that name.
It's a
Thank you.
badass name.
Alexa, stop. And of course, that goes off as soon as I do it, as soon as I start. Thank you for dropping by, everybody. I'm here to do another Sniper Island sit down. Today, I'm here with Vitonite, a someone that I met through, who was it, King?
Yeah, Eam
Yeah,
stream.
yeah, I'm D King. I'm D King. I'm D King. However you want to pronounce it. It's 11 a.m. here. How you doing, Heavy? But Vito, let everybody in the chat know who you are, what your channel is about, and if you want, and please, everybody, if you're here, look in the description. You will find Vito Knight's channel. Go sub to him if you haven't. But Vito, take it away. Please go.
I mainly do One Piece discussions and reviews. Sometimes I do live reactions, but I don't really upload them that much. Depends on how hyped the chapter is. But yeah, sometimes I also do solo leveling. I know for some reason, a lot of people just watch my solo leveling videos, like compared to my others, and it's awesome because I love
Solo
solo leveling.
leveling is one of those series
But
that have taken
I
off.
know a lot of people probably don't know this, but I also, and you probably don't know it either, I edit for King of Lightning. I do his
Oh
discussions
shit!
and his solo leveling reactions. And he does his own, sometimes he does his own discussions if they're short, and
I
he does
did
his
not
One Piece
know
live
that.
reaction.
I did not know that. Are you in his tier 3 discussions?
What? Nah.
Oh
I,
man.
I, I can't get involved with those guys are wild, bro. I like King, obviously. But bro, it goes crazy in there. It would be too much for me.
The tier 3s have their own type
Mainly
of
because they talk
energy.
about power scale. I'm not a big power scaler, so
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna
I do it for like fun.
minimize
I'm not like
this.
super serious about it.
Okay, I just need to minimize the chat a little bit for on stream. I apologize, technical difficulties. But yeah, if you haven't already, check out I was about to say King. Check out Vito Knight's channel. Sub to him if you're feeling inclined to. Hell, I already did, and I'm actually enjoying your content, man.
Thanks,
But
man.
but we have a few topics to discuss. Right now, we were just before the stream started, we were talking about power scaling and how the community looks at the series. We have give me 1 second. Goddamn, how do I forget my own topics? We have Kaido's abilities. Is he a dragon or is he a fraud? Of course, new crew members, who you want versus actual possibilities, the main topic, the main discussion, which is the ancient weapons and what are their roles in the series, and of course the next arc predictions, or in this case I guess we can do next chapter predictions because I try and do these things on chapter break. So I guess we can talk about that. We can talk
Yeah,
about next
you can
chapter
combine
instead
that
of
because
next
I feel like
arc.
a next arc prediction might not be super deep because it's like kind of tricky. But we
Yeah.
can still talk. We can just combine those. But I'm down with that.
Yeah, like predictions for anything upcoming.
Yeah, of
But
course.
somebody in the chat had a quick hot take, and it was Common Pants. That is hilarious. Hot take: sound effects in the One Piece anime kind of suck. I don't think that's a hot take. That's actually a common opinion. It's mostly just
Really?
Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z reused sound effects. Like, honestly, it really is.
Yeah, I think mainly just because since the anime kind of caught up to the manga, I think it's definitely gotten considerably worse. But I think overall in the pre-time skip, you're right. I think it is overused, and also it's not. They're not that great. I don't think they're bad though. At least before they caught up to the manga, I think the pre-time skip used it pretty well. Some scenes obviously are dragged out, and they kind of getting really annoying with all that. I think that kind of plays a part into the sound effects not being that great. But I actually didn't know that was a common take. But I'm not surprised it is either because I can understand why. Are you there? Oh, did my? What happened? You might have muted yourself on accident because I can't hear you. Unless, let me.
Mic on.
Yo, yo, yo. I hear you now.
Mic off.
I think.
Mic
right?
on.
Wait. Yeah, yeah. I hear you now. Are you good? I'll keep the chat company.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, because. So what else? Let me read the chat. Fact. Oh, also, I always see this guy in chat. God D Usopp. He's a legend. I just need to. I need to mention that.
Okay,
But yeah, like,
all right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm
what?
back.
You're good now. Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, my headset, my freaking mic just like my Blue Yeti just bugged out on me for some reason,
That's
and I have no idea
strange.
why.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
Jesus Christ.
My bad. Yeah, his mic just messed up for a second, so that's why you can't hear him probably right now. But it should be coming up soon.
Yeah,
He should be good now.
yeah,
He's good now.
it should be there. It should be.
Yeah,
there.
you're good.
Yeah, it's coming back. It's coming in on stream again. Jesus
Yeah, I clearly
Christ.
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have been. Was it your like actual mic or could have been Discord? I don't
No,
know.
it's my actual mic. My Blue Yeti just stopped working for some reason. So
Oh, okay.
the sound quality
I know
is
Discord is buggy sometimes, so I
Yeah,
thought it
this-
was Discord.
Nah, it was my Blue Yeti. The sound
Yeah, what's up,
quality
Michelle?
for my mic is about to drop severely. Like it's about to drop a lot. But okay,
Uh-oh.
what were we talking about? Oh yeah, One Piece anime. I forgot. Pre-time skip, you really didn't hear the over the top Dragon Ball Z sound effects,
Mhm.
but post time skip, specifically in Punk Hazard, I think is when it would start to get really noticeable. And once we got to Dressrosa, you automatically knew this was all freaking Dragon Ball Z sound effects. When Zoro throws a flying slash, that laser sound
Oh
effect.
yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I haven't watched. I caught up to the anime like 6 years ago, so
Yeah.
like I don't really remember it as much, but I know what you're I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm still watching it right now.
Yeah,
Like right now, it's like exaggerated, like how Demon Slayer is, like,
bro. Oh my goodness.
with all the auras and stuff.
See, but at least with Demon Slayer, you can clearly tell what that sound effect is without looking at it. When I hear that laser sound effect of Zoro like throwing an air slash, because they use that specific sound effect for other things, it's not really. And in fact, even if it is just for the flying slashes, hearing a laser does not translate to a flying air slash.
They're trying to sound cool.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of a shame because the One Piece anime is what brought me into this series, and to see the quality drop so much, especially when it comes to non-hype fight scenes or even just characters just sitting around conversating. The character models are inconsistent. The line art kind of sucks. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of the screenshots or images of God Usopp says sounds like a key blast. Exactly.
Oh, give me 1 second.
But yeah, it kind of hurts, especially when you've gotten into a series that you love so much that you started a YouTube channel on it based off of the anime, and then and that's what brought you into the manga because you wanted to keep up with it.
Yeah, man, like I think it's very noticeable in Wano and Whole Cake too. I feel like the anime being like, I feel like the anime has been really good, but then there's like some moments where I think I didn't like Udon in the manga, and it just was considerably worse in the anime just because it's a lot longer.
Yeah,
but also I don't know. I just hated Udon, so it made it worse for me seeing it a second time.
Personally, I used to love prison scenes. Like anything that had to do with a prison, I was down for it. I was down for the interactions inside the prison. I was down for the escape plan, and then the execution of that plan, and then watching the plan fall apart while they're executing it. I loved Prison Break. But for some reason, not Ennis Lobby, Impel Down didn't hit me the same way. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I loved Impel Down. I absolutely loved Impel Down. It wasn't a Prison Break story. It was a Prison Break story with a breakout. But for some reason, it really didn't hit me the same way, and I feel like that's because Luffy is such a like head first destroy everything kind of character, whereas. Let's say in a series like Naruto, if Naruto was to go to prison, in fact, in one of the movies, he did go to prison. If Naruto was to go to prison, it wouldn't be run in Rasengan every door until he gets to where he needs to go. Because he's a ninja, there's more stealth involved, there's more tactics. And granted, I understand that's not the kind of character that Luffy is. He goes in head first, makes a commotion, and the rest of his crew does the actual plan. But I kind of wish One Piece had more of a tactical feel to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think with certain characters, you kind of get that tactical feel, but it doesn't happen that often. I feel like because most of the main characters are kind of like that, where they just go balls to the wall, and just brute force most of the time. I think the beauty of the pre-time skip, though, at least like seeing it in the anime, is Luffy kind of slowly learns that he can't just do that all the time. But he still does it most of the time. It's just he's now he's kind of thinking ahead a little bit more often now. And I think seeing that progression is pretty good. Because I always had a gripe with people saying that One Piece characters don't change when it's clearly not the case.
It's not the case for the majority of the characters.
Yeah.
Well, no, for some characters. But I do feel like Luffy is maturing in some ways.
Yeah, he's keeping, because I think the beauty of One Piece is you're seeing them, most of these characters, after they already went through their development. Because then then you're just seeing their flashbacks, and that's what made them into who they are today. Exactly. And I think that's what Luffy kind of respects, is that he doesn't care what happened in the past. It's just who you are and what shaped you as of now.
Again, bringing up Naruto, in a series like Naruto, we met the cast when they were still technically kids, and when they had their time skip, they came back as, I guess you could say teenagers or young adults, and then they had a bigger change based off of the things that they went through. But in terms of One Piece, we're kind of already there with our characters. They are who they are, and over the course of the series, they are learning new things, but in terms of like how they are as people, we're kind of at the high points of their character, right? Like, not saying that they can't get character development. Obviously, a story is gonna suck without that development, but if you look at it in terms of a real life person, the ages that these characters are, they're kind of at that age where whoever they are now is kind of where they're going to be for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and only super major moments like Sabaody is something that changed them completely. You need something so hard hitting, and not just because they're already developed. Basically, they're developing slowly. They're not developing as often as you could say.
Sabaody made them understand that these people are the people that I'm willing to die for. These are my friends. This is my crew. But in terms of their character, their personalities and everything, it's not going to change much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying it's drastically changing, but it made it so that those type of moments are making them change more than I would say anything else.
Yeah.
But they're not going to change that much because their core personality is still there. It's just you're adding on a layer, basically. You're not adding on multiple layers.
Yeah, what I mean mostly is, like I said, their personalities. Post time skip, Nami obviously has a deeper love for the entire crew. I mean, look what she did recently.
Mhm.
Ulti was literally about to headbutt her to death, and all she had to do was say, Luffy's not going to be the Pirate King. In tears, she still said, Luffy's going to be the Pirate King. Pre-time skip, I feel like she would have said it just to save her ass. And
Yeah,
and
it's a
of
different
course,
meaning. I agree with that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And
Like before, like if that happened, like I would say right at Sabaody, I think that's definitely like, yeah, she's just saying that to save her ass. But now I think it means a lot more because we know what they went through.
yeah, and that's what I mean when I say that these characters will get the development, but as in terms of the people that they are, post time skip, Nami still is a money hungry like bargain shopper who tries to rip people off for every
Yeah.
item that they have. Usopp is still an inventive coward. Frankie is still that inventive pervert, and Robin, I mean, as far as Robin goes, her love for the crew is kind of is a little bit of her personality, because
Mhm.
pre-time skip she was just a cold, just cold and distant person. She's still that person, but she's a lot more social with the crew. She has I guess you could say she has a glow to her now. Not saying that she's pregnant or anything, but yeah, you get what I
I know
mean.
what you mean.
Yeah, you get
I
what I
exactly
mean.
what
Whether
you're
that
talking about.
translates to the chat, I'm not sure. I apologize. This might be weird to say. I'm not good with words. Yeah, that is weird to say. I have a YouTube channel based around a series that relies on
I
communicating
feel
things
like I'm the
with
same way, but I
words.
know a lot of the time my chat knows what I'm talking about. So maybe I feel like they'll know. I feel like they'll know.
Hopefully.
We got a lot of these people I know are pretty familiar with, so I think they'll understand.
All right. Okay, but damn, we went from power scaling to the One Piece anime to character personalities. All right, let's jump into the first topic. And
Let's
I know
go.
this is one that you really wanted to talk about. I've talked about it on stream before, but it'd be nice to go back to it. Kaido, is his ability a devil fruit, or is he a dragon? Is it a devil fruit? Is Kaido a fraud, or like what's going on with Kaido's ability? Let me hear your pregnant Robin 2020. Yo, Straw Hat, chill out. But yeah, let me hear your thoughts on Kaido. Do you believe he's an actual dragon? Because a lot of the community is really pushing for it.
I've actually thought it for a long time that he was. I don't think it's more probable. I think it's honestly a 50-50 at this point, and it might be going towards the dragon theory, especially from what Yamato said, but I don't think you need to put too much weight onto what she said. I think it's a little bit of a reach to say that, oh, it guarantees that he's a dragon. Because one, I think the main theory on why it's weird that we haven't seen what his devil fruit is, it doesn't really make sense that we haven't seen it yet. Because every time we've encountered a major antagonist, we've always figured out what their ability was relatively early in the arc. I think that's one. And two, I know people have always brought up Marco calling Kaido an ogre. I think that's just the biggest reach ever because one, Oda never reveals like a game breaking, or if he hasn't revealed what a character is or like what they fully are, they're not going to reveal it in like a side. He's not a side character, but you know what I mean. Like
Just
a
a
character
one
that
off
is
phrase
not.
or something.
If he doesn't reveal it in front of the whole Straw Hats, that's normally when we see those type of reveals happen. If it's a big enough a reveal, it's going to be in front of the crew, and they're going to find out. We're going to find out through their eyes. So I think that's like number two. And number three, we've also heard of multiple characters called, like, I know there was one time I don't know when. I was been rereading One Piece and I saw this where someone called Zoro an ogre / a demon, and I think that's happened a couple times to Zoro. And there's also been another character, I don't remember the character's name, that has also been called the same thing. It doesn't literally mean that they're an ogre. It
Yeah,
just means that
it just
they're
means
some
that
type of freak.
they're a brute. They're beasts. They're more muscle than anything. They're
Yeah.
brawn over brains.
Also, Big Mom never calls Kaido, like referencing that he's a human of any sort, always referenced him as a thing. I think that's also very underrated and people don't really talk about that as well. And then I thought we would see, once he transformed into a dragon for the first time in 923, I'm pretty sure that's what the chapter was. I have the panel right here. Luffy mentions a dragon. What is that? And Law mentions that that's Kaido. Not. It's interesting that we didn't see the devil fruit reveal there because I think that would make the most sense if you're going to introduce someone like that. Because the first time we really saw Big Mom and her doing her soul fruit power stuff, turning people into homies, or just having her homies around her in that musical, that's kind of when we got revealed what her devil fruit was.
Oh yeah, it said
Her power.
wait, in
It's
her
weird
Oda box, did it give the definition like Charlotte Linlin Big Mom soul fruit, or was it just her name in her epithet?
I
I
cannot
cannot remember it.
Oh, it was either that. I know we got the Oda box for it. I don't remember if it was the fruit, but I know we got the fruit. Not if it was like in the middle of the arc at latest. I didn't get a screenshot for that one. That's actually was trying to find that and I couldn't find it. If someone in the chat could find that and tell me what chapter, I'll pull it up.
If anybody can find it and post it in the Discord, whether it's in the general, the One Piece chat, or the room with no mics, preferably the One Piece chat. If you can find that panel, please post it in the Discord. But I think there were other characters, like maybe not antagonists, but big characters that came out, and when they got their Oda box, it never gave the name of their devil fruit, or their devil fruit was never specifically spoken.
Yeah, but normally when that happens though, it's always revealed not that long after. I know with Big Mom, I think Static's right where he said Pound told us about the power. And it's clear that we know, though, it's a devil fruit. With Kaido, it's
absolutely
kind of ambiguous. Because especially knowing his introduction and how if the Marines really wanted to kill him, if he did have a devil fruit, why didn't they just drown him in the water?
Yeah, that's one.
I think that could be a plot hole, though. That's something that...
Personally, I do think it's really just a plot hole because the Marines have too many superpowers in order for them to not be able to execute Kaido. We know that every time we see or have heard of an execution, it's always some no-name people with just big glaives doing a ceremonial execution through the neck. That's it. They killed Gold Roger that way. They killed Ace that way. They executed Mont Blanc Nolan that way. They tried it with Kaido, failed. The blades broke. They tried to hang him. The chain popped. Yep. They've tried, in my opinion, they tried everything except drowning. Either they did try and drown him, and he lost his strength, but the guy's fucking massive. He probably has body conditioning to the point where he can hold his breath for weeks at a time. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, you also, I just don't think they didn't try using admirals or anything to try to. I think that would have been like if he's in Sea Stone, I feel like any comparable fighter should be able to kill him.
I feel like
that's the main thing. The only thing I can think of is that it's a plot hole, but I never think Oda does that because I honestly can't think of anything that would be that major that could be a plot hole besides maybe Whitebeard or Shanks not trying to check what is up with Odin and Wano. That's a whole different topic though.
Okay, yeah, as a matter of fact, we can talk about that too. The state of Wano. We can go on for anything right now.
I have a little bit more on the dragon thing though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do too.
Yeah, we can talk about that later for sure. I'm down.
Oh yeah, bro. I would normally want to keep these to like an hour and a half to 2 hours long because I don't want to keep people too long. But if you're down to discuss it, I'm down. I'm down to continue.
I'm fucking down, dude. I'm a D-gen. I'm down. I can. Yeah. Man. So with the dragon thing, I also you always see in Punk Hazard and the PTSD that Kinemon and Momo have of dragons as well. It's weird that they only think of Kaido as that way as a dragon. I know he's kind of half and half when he fights though in his quote unquote human form and his dragon form. So it's really interesting that the people that kind of have the most beef with him always reference him as a dragon. And then with Momo, he has PTSD as well with Kaido being a dragon. But it's interesting to see that he's not afraid of his, I guess, human/giant form, if whatever you want to call it. It's always because of his dragon. So I'm thinking that that could also be evidence towards him being a dragon as well. But I think it's obviously clear that if it is a devil fruit, which I'm not throwing out of the table, I think if it is a devil fruit, it has to be some special mythical zone. I don't think it's just a regular mythical zone because I don't think Oda would hold it on for it that long, especially when we know mythical zones in the story. We have Orochi, we have Marco, we have Sengoku, and I think if Kaido is one, I guess, is that all? Or maybe there's another one I forgot about. But
Marco, Orochi,
Sengoku, Kaido.
Sengoku, possibly Kaido.
Yeah.
I could have sworn there was another mythical Zoan user. I'll pull it up on the wiki, but I could have sworn. I think there are one mythical
But
Zoan.
I just think it's interesting because maybe it's like a case where it's a special mythical zone, kind of like how Katakuri got retconned to a special paramecia.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that could be the case as well.
So far, there's
he has like the most unique power. Like normally with Marco, he has the power to heal and stuff, but he has like 10 different powers. It's insane.
Oh, Katarina Devon.
Oh yeah.
Crew, Ninetales. But we have the Bat Fruit model vampire that belonged to Patrick Redfield and One Piece Unlimited World Red, the video game. The Hebi Nomi, the Yamato Orochi, which belongs to Orochi.
Yep.
That's kind of hilarious. The human fruit model Daibatsu, the golden god, which is Sengoku. The bird fruit model Phoenix, that belongs to Marco. The bird fruit model Nue, which was a part of the, I believe it was the stage. No, it wasn't a stage play. It was just a story that Oda wrote for some event that went on in Japan that tied into Wano, but it wasn't in Wano. It's kind of non-canon.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the dog fruit, the kitsune. I thought foxes were more related to cats because they had whiskers.
I guess Oda decided dog. I don't know.
I have no idea. I might just be like looking too much into it. But yeah, obviously we have the nine-tailed fox, and we also have, and the last one is the dog fruit model Bake. Oh, the Tanuki from Unlimited World Red. So a lot of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are non-canon.
Okay. So yeah, we're basically right about all the canon ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with I think either way, I think it would be dope. I don't care. I more on the hill that he is a dragon, but I still think he has a devil fruit, whatever it is, like an ancient giant or oni fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't have one, I think it would also make sense, just judging from Japanese mythology and how dragons can actually transform. And then we also got Gyukimaru, who's apparent that we don't know if he has a devil fruit or not, but it's a fox that can turn into a human, or a human that can turn into a little fox. I think it's more that it makes sense that the little fox turn into a human, because I feel like you would have a crappy devil fruit if you turn into a little fox.
Okay, for me personally, I'm looking at the chat, and a lot of these people are, the normal people who come in through the chat when I stream. So my main thing about Kaido, and of course with Gyukimaru, and Fox posted the panels and posted the panel in
dope
in the One Piece chat in the Discord. But my thing about Kaido is, I think that he's an ancient giant, somebody from the Oars race. He's either a descendant of that race, or he's part of that, or he's actually part of that race. Whether he's half ancient giant and half human, whatever it is.
That's exactly what I would go. If he has a dragon devil fruit, that's exactly what I think too.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I think there's no way in hell he's a goddamn poneglyph. Shout out to Frankie, but fuck Frankie. I don't think that he's a goddamn poneglyph. That makes no sense. And for there to be actual mythical creatures in the world of One Piece with these special abilities, I think I'm not going to say it breaks the magic system that Oda has for his series, but it adds another magic system in a series where we've already have devil fruits, we have hockey, we have body conditioning, and everything in here there's already too many magic systems in my opinion. And the over the top power system, the over the top magic system that he has is that everything comes with a cost. The power, in order for you to have a devil fruit, you have to give up your ability to swim, which in the One Piece world, screw 93% of the world, or 80%, whatever the real world's water, surface to water relationship is. The One Piece world is, I'm going to say, 95% water.
Oh, 100%. I think so too.
It's mostly ocean. The reason that I'm saying 95 is because the red line exists, and that is a continent that is it's high as hell, and it literally stretches the entire planet. Yeah. For devil fruits, you have to give up your ability to swim, which in the One Piece world is actually scary. For body conditioning and hockey, it takes either massive training or ridiculous luck, because
you're born with it.
Look at someone with like Isa and Skypiea. She was born with a ridiculous aptitude for observation hockey. As a baby, she'd cry whenever conflict was going on, literally miles away.
Loki, that's like top 5 observation hockey users. Like, exactly. That is actually insane.
She was pretty much doing what NL was doing, but without the electric devil fruit. She was able to hear people dying and just hear them completely disappear. NL was able to pinpoint because of his massive observation hockey, plus it's a magnetic field that your body gives off. He's able to sense that and pinpoint it accurately. And with body conditioning, you have to have crazy training. Ridiculous training. Look at what the CP9 people went through. They've been training since they were children and they still got trashed by pre-time skip. Granted, Sanji lit his leg on fire, and I'm gonna get it, and I've gotten into that multiple times too, about how is certain characters able to do certain things if you can't control elements, and if elemental hockey doesn't exist. One, this isn't Naruto. I think yes, chakra and hockey are explained similarly, but chakra is more explained as, the life energy that gives you control over the elements and harness those elements. Whereas hockey is more, you're using your life energy to create, to fortify your skin or enhance your senses, not create, shoot a fireball out of your hand. The only way that I think elemental control will come into play through body conditioning is, raising your body temperature and igniting like your body. That's the way that I think elemental control would work. Not being able to call down lightning from the sky. Yeah. If it doesn't,
it always has a reason. There's always like some quote unquote scientific reason. It's not coming out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Like, you're not producing it.
Yeah. That's exactly how I think most abilities and most, if not all abilities in One Piece can be explained. I explained how I think Red Hawk works. I've even demonstrated it on stream. If you grab a rubber band, grab it from the middle and stress it and just rapidly stretch it for a few minutes, and then grab the middle of it and then touch the middle of it, like where it was stretching, you'll feel that it started to heat up. And I think Red Hawk is an over exaggeration of that effect. Diable Jambe, Sanji, Oda's first explanation for it. He's generating heat through friction when he spins. But then when he did it underwater, there's no other way to explain it. Oda gave a troll answer. It's his passion. It burns so hot that the water can't put it out underwater while he's submerged. Okay, Kinemon's flames, I think it's pretty much a similar reaction. He's vibrating the sword to the point where it heats up and turns into flames. Brooks ice, he literally says it's the cold of the underworld. Someone brought up not long ago, oh, but hell is hot. Not true. In certain mythologies or in certain religions, hell is cold. Hell is the absolute zero of anywhere in the world. Hell, even Christian hell has a frozen lake that if you even get too close to it, you'll freeze in place. Brooks devil fruit is literally Brooks ice is literally just his devil fruit. That's the way that I explained it. How fast is Kinemon shaking? Okay, God Usopp, it's an anime and manga. I don't fucking know. But yeah, back on Kaido. Back on Kaido, his devil fruit and everything. I think Kaido is of the ancient giant race. He's an Oars. I just think it's a lot easier to call him that. I think Kaido is an Oars. I think he ate the dragon fruit. And Yamato's explanation of, a dragon can create flame clouds that allows them to fly, and Kaido's using that to lift the island. I think that's just his devil fruit. I don't think Kaido is a mythical creature that exists in the world that came across a human fruit model ancient giant. I know, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Devil fruit is frozen in Dante's Inferno. What?
Oh shit, was I muted?
Oh, I think so.
God damn it. I'm not sure how long you went, but I was muted. I was like, am I muted? My bad.
It's alright, man. But yeah, like I said, I just think the gist of it, Kaido is a descendant of the ancient giant race who ate a dragon fruit. And when Yamato explained dragons have the ability to create flame clouds to allow them to fly, Kaido is just using that ability from his devil fruit to lift the island. I don't think that Kaido is an actual dragon. I think that introducing actual mythical creatures in the world would create another magic system in a series that's already flooded with different magic systems, and you'd have to create a whole another set of rules for these.
Yeah, I could see that. I just think there's a lot of evidence for both, and just from what I'm looking, I think Oda made it ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah, there definitely is a reason behind it, and I think Oda will have some kind of big reveal behind it. In whatever it is, I'm pretty sure it's going to be unexpected, whatever it is. But just like everybody likes to stick to their things. The hill that I'm dying on is Kaido is of the ancient giant race. Dwayne Brown said it doesn't make sense though. Why would Kaido be the only normal sized one? Well, first off, the Aura's race, as far as we've only seen 2 of them. And with the actual giant race, we know that there are ones that are massive. And then, what was his name? Bastille. He's a tiny ancient giant. He's the size of a large human. So yeah, I'm just saying and like I said, I don't think that he's like full on ancient giant. I think he may be a descendant or just part ancient giant, not full.
Yeah, because isn't Ors Junior smaller than Ors?
Ors Junior, I believe he is smaller than actual Ors, or they they may actually be similar height. Because
if you look at like our world, like a lot of the animals and also dinosaurs back, like everything was so much bigger than it was before. And then as like they evolved, like a lot of things got a lot smaller. Like you see insects are a lot smaller, and we have no dinosaurs too. So you kind of have to look at that as well. Like a lot of the animals back then were so much bigger, and like kind of like in One Piece, I feel like that's the same thing where like all the ancient races were just much bigger. And then also you can also put into a consideration that Kaido could just be half human.
That's the point that I was trying to make. But like I said, I'm not good with words. I understood
exactly what you're saying.
I actually went to a museum recently. Well, not recently. I'm not trying to catch COVID or anything. But before all of this broke out, and they actually have a skeleton of. It wasn't a Neanderthal. Whichever it was a caveman. This guy, the guy's skull was about the size of my torso, and it was terrifying. And they had a video presentation about, the evolution of things and why things got smaller, and what fruit, like the evolution of fruit and all that. It turned a fruit, like an average apple, used to be the size of my PC tower, and that kind of blew my mind. And then they started talking about how big mosquitoes and everything used to be. And that's when I zoned out, because I hate mosquitoes. And finding out that one used to be the size of my goddamn TV, no.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Could you imagine something like that landing on your shoulder and biting you? No.
Bro, I'm already scared of bugs. I can't imagine what they would be if they were 10 times bigger.
Jesus Christ, no. But yeah, Kaido's ability is one of those things that when I think about it, I hear a lot of good points, but at the same time, I still stick to the idea that he's of the Ors race. I don't think that he's an actual giant, and that's the hill that I'm gonna die on.
Yeah, I die in the other one, but I wouldn't be mad either way. I think both are interesting enough to where, because of how many points there are for both sides. I actually love when Oda does this and makes something this ambiguous, because I think it's definitely going to be something special. And this is probably going to be the peak of mythical zones. And that could also be why he's hiding it as well.
I think
maybe there's a cool name for it that we like, rather than just a dragon fruit. It has like some cool epithet or something, or it's like a legendary fruit.
Oh yeah, I think the crazy thing about the mythical zone fruits is the fact that they're not just zones. I mean, look at Marco's fruit. He's a bird, but he also has attributes of a Logia. I mean, whether you want to believe that his flames burn or not, because recently he said that his flames are special, but like we find out that they heal, but he said my flames are special, and that he was able to burn, who was it, Prometheus with it?
Yeah.
So he pretty much has Pell and Ace's fruit combined into one, and I think that's pretty cool.
I love that. It's cool.
And looking at Sengoku's fruit, he has a giant fruit mixed in with, hell, you might as well just say Guild Tesoro's fruit, the gold fruit, except he doesn't manipulate it. He is gold. And
he has like a smidge of Whitebeard's fruit in it. Not as potent,
he has he can create shockwaves, whether that's a product of his devil fruit or if he learned Fishman karate at some point. He can create those shockwaves. In that giant state, he makes earthquakes with them. And that's fucking amazing.
It's cool.
It's fucking amazing.
I wish I want to see more of him. I hope we get a flashback to see like what all these old heads are about.
Bro, people are dying to see it, but I feel like it's gonna be like the Shanks versus Mihawk thing, the Rocks fight, the God Valley fight.
Make that into a movie or like an OVA. That would be fire.
Thank you. Do you know how many times I've heard, make this an OVA, make this a movie, make this a flashback movie? Jesus Christ. I want a Shanks versus Mihawk flashback so badly that I'm like, okay,
I'd rather have it in the story for sure.
Yeah, I'd rather have it in the story, but if a movie or a special is what I have to get in order to get that, I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. Granted,
especially because Oda, like when it comes to these, like with these characters that are actually in the story, Oda writes, like those are the movies that Oda pretty much is like overseeing.
Oh hell yeah! Especially the current ones. The current ones, Film Z, Strong World, Film Gold, Stampede. Oda has had huge part in those.
Yeah.
Every single time, for those 4 movies, the older movies that hell I like to stand when people try and downplay them. Oda has had minimal interaction, minimal involvement. That's the word I'm looking for. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
He's
I
had
agree.
minimal involvement. One of my favorite One Piece movies, it's called Dead End Adventure. He drew the 2 prominent characters in there. Shirai Baskud, who he was a bounty hunter going after the main antagonist Gasparde. Oda came up with those 2 characters. Gasparde had a Logia fruit, which was a candy fruit, which I thought was fucking amazing. And then when Parasparrow showed up, I'm like, oh my god, Gasparde is dead. Luffy killed Gasparde. But Parasparrow is not a Logia, he's a Paramecia. But yeah, but looking at the zone abilities, the mythical zone, whatever Kaido is, whether he's a dragon who ate a mythical ogre fruit, whether he's an ogre who ate a dragon fruit, whatever this devil fruit is, Oda has something up his sleeve for it. It has to be some type of special.
I think it might be Chapter 1000. I think that's gonna be part of it.
I have my own expectations for Chapter 1000, which is I want the Ace and Yamato flashback to begin. I really do.
So good.
I really do, because Oda said he set aside a portion of Wano aside for Ace and his whole thing, but we only got like a side panel of it, like not even a full.
I think that flashback might be like low key one of the most important flashbacks for this arc.
Absolutely, because one, Why didn't Whitebeard go to liberate Wano when Ace got out of Wano? Because Kaido was there, and Ace had to know Kaido was there if he met Yamato.
Hell, even before then, during the 20 years, like what the heck was he doing?
I can actually understand that because not information doesn't get out of Wano all that easily, but information from the outside does get into Wano. I mean, Odin found out about Roger's death.
Everyone and their mom knows what's happening in Wano right now, though.
No,
like
the
Blackbeard was able to infiltrate. The Marines could
don't.
infiltrate if they wanted to, and they did.
The Marine,
I'm
as
sure
of right now,
most of the Yonko know what's going on in Wano too.
Oh yeah, the Emperors, absolutely. I feel like they have inside people reporting from every single one of the Emperor's sides back to them. But as far as the Marines go, I don't think that they have an inside man in Wano simply because they still don't know whether Odin is alive or not.
Yeah, I think the Marines are different because they can't move as recklessly. But like with the Yonko, they always have someone. Because Blackbeard knows hella shit. Shanks knows hella shit. Whitebeard knew hella shit. I just feel like with Wano, I don't think it's that far-fetched that they didn't know what was going on for a long time. And even if they didn't, why wouldn't they go check after a while? Because Odin hasn't came back.
Wait, hold on. You know what I mean? How is it that the Marines don't know what's going on in Wano? Granted, 2 years ago, I can understand. But right now, they have Drake inside. They had Drake on Kaido's crew.
I think Sword knows for sure. I don't think.
But he was reporting back. He was reporting back to Kobe, who right now, yeah, he is a member of Sword. But prior to that, why wouldn't they share? Why wouldn't Marines share the Why wouldn't Sword share the information that they have about Wano with the rest of the Marines? You don't have to necessarily reveal the identity of your organization in order to report certain information. Like, for example, Odin being whether he's alive or not. We had somebody we had someone who went into Wano. They made it out. We captured that pirate, but he tried to escape, so we had to kill him. When we interrogated him, he told us, yeah, Odin's dead. Odin's not there. Like, I'm saying that there are a number of ways that they could have reported information on the goings on of Wano without actually revealing the identity, I
think their move to do that though was planting Drake in Kaido. I think that's when they're making their move on trying to figure out what the heck's going on in there. And I think they couldn't really, I don't know. At least I think Drake is like that first step to where, we need to know what's going on in Wano, at least for Sword. I think the other, like the world government and like the other Marines that aren't involved in Sword, they're kind of like too cautious, or, well, maybe not too cautious. They just haven't had the initiative to do it because they kind of want to not risk themselves and getting into beef with Kaido, probably. That'd be too much.
Oh yeah,
they would have like a Whitebeard 2.0 situation.
Maybe they're trying to get all of the information together before they report anything at all.
Yeah, they're being like really cautious as well.
Especially with Drake being so close to Kaido.
I also think the Gorosei and them, they're pretty overconfident. At least that's what it comes across as. They think they can maintain, they can tip over the balance whenever they want to in due time, and from the Reverie, it looks like that is the case.
Oh yeah, no one wants to make a move too quickly. Like Kaido, Kaido doesn't want to move on the world yet because he was building up the factories and everything over the past 20 years, building up weapons and trade. Sword doesn't want to make a move yet because Kaido has this grand plan going on and they don't have all the information yet. And the world government doesn't want to make a move yet because they don't have something to keep the world in check should things go terribly wrong. I mean, when Whitebeard died, we found out that hundreds of pirates went around the world, just started getting active and started causing a lot of chaos, especially in the New World. And look at what happened when Luffy, he didn't even beat Big Mom. He just went into a territory, started screwing with everything. And when he got out and the news came out about it, yeah, the world kind of went crazy again. So just imagine if after this arc, if you're one of the people who believe both Kaido and Big Mom are going down this arc, the world's kind of fucked. Where I wouldn't be surprised if that world war that Whitebeard was talking about, it starts to kick off now rather than, when the One Piece is found.
That could be possible, but I think the One Piece will escalate it to involve everyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But like, for example, like in the real world, you know how like World War II kind of started with like an assassination. Like it could be a scuffle between those guys, and then there was like one more huge event that happened that kind of involved everybody. I think that's what the One Piece will be like. Like what you're saying. Well, there was like it was like Poland or Austria.
I think it was a Poland assassination before.
Yeah, they got their Duke assassinated, and then I would say the equivalent of the One Piece being found is probably the Pearl Harbor, and that kind of involved all of the United States, the big guns, I would say, to really fight off against everyone else, and that kind of engulfed the whole world. Really, I think that was like the event to really engulf the whole world, and that's how I'm seeing like. You're slowly moving into this world war. It didn't involve everyone yet, but once you mess with the superpowers, the Yonko, and the world government, that's when it's going to go to shit. Involve even everyone. Maybe like you see war in random countries with just random citizens getting slaughtered. You just see battle everywhere. That would be crazy.
The messing with the Yonko is what's involving the pirates and what's slowly escalating everything. And once the One Piece is found, that's when the world government, the Marines, and literally every other pirate just starts going in on each other. More of a free for all rather than not even a free for all. It's more group versus group versus group.
Yeah, because I see like the Revolutionary Sword, Luffy's group being one side. You see Kaido. If Kaido lives, let's just say this happens, like no one like gets defeated, but like if it is a literal world war, you have like Kaido and Big Mom's faction. And then you have
Shanks'
the world government faction, and then you have Blackbeard's faction. You have like all these factions like competing toward the top, and that's what Doflamingo was talking about.
Oh, the Throne War! I keep forgetting about that. The Throne War, it's up there in one of my favorite titles for a war. Next,
that speech is goated. It's goated.
Oh my god,
Doflamingo is goated.
Just listen to the Throne War. Oh my god.
I love that because I think that's such a great idea that he took from Game of Thrones.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's perfect. It was like it was meant for One Piece before.
Bro, either you play the Game of Thrones to win. Ooh.
Fire.
The Throne War is up there with one of my favorite titles for a war, second only to The Day of Black Sun. I want that as a title for something in one. What's that from? That's from Avatar.
Oh, duh,
yeah,
of course.
Day of Black Sun. I love that.
Yeah.
When Sokka gave that name, he's like, "We're calling this the Day of Black Sun." And I'm like, "Oh,
that guy, he comes up with all the crazy shit in the show. He's a creative genius.
Oh my god, I'm mad. I'm absolutely mad. That's one of the things that I will agree with everybody when they say Legend of Korra is trash, because Sokka's already dead. I wanted to see more Sokka.
Bro, Korra, overhyped.
I will agree that it's overhyped, but I think people give it way too much shit for what it was. I enjoy the villains.
I agree. I think it's unfair because the guy didn't want to go past, like he didn't want to do it, and he didn't want to go past season 1.
He didn't. That's why they canceled the third series. It was supposed to be twin brothers who were born, but one of them was the Avatar and the other one wasn't. I'm actually kind of happy that they canceled that because Korra would have had to have been dead, and for however long that she was alive, technology and everything would have advanced. And one of the main draws for me in Avatar is the time period that it's based around. Legend of Korra was okay. I feel like it was too big of a time jump. Like we went from riding horses and everything into like the steam era of everything. We had cars and all this, but if we would have gotten that new series, I feel like we kind of would have been in a semi-modern era. And I would not like that for Avatar, especially with people controlling elements.
Like I don't know. Because I don't know. It's like at that point, you're like, you don't need an Avatar anymore. You got freaking nuclear bombs and shit.
Exactly. They were already developing shit like that in Avatar. Yeah. We had planes. Like, are you serious? They were dropping bombs from planes. Not even the firebenders. They were just dropping bombs. They had taser gloves. Like, I honestly don't think we would have needed the Avatar at that point.
this reminds me in One Piece of like how scattered technology is in One Piece and how we have like all these advanced shit, and then you have Den Mushi, which is weird. Like
Yeah,
that's so archaic.
I thought Denden Mushis were just phones that had to be produced in a factory or something. Frankie said in Zoe, I saw some Denden Mushis in the forest. I'll go make some. What? So you mean to tell me I can go out into the forest, pick up a couple snails, and then just call my friend? Hey, I don't know. And the time period that One Piece is set in, I love because I like more of the pirate era, the I don't want to say no technology, but the less advanced technology rather than the cyberpunk era.
It's interesting because it's like it's a combination of every era. I feel like because it's so spread out. I think the world government did it on purpose.
We have phones, we have electricity, but what a lot of people don't know is we have computers. There are computers in One Piece. There really are. But there are also fax machines. And I don't want to get into
exactly.
that.
It's like they're in the 60s, but also in current day at the same time. I think that's so sick.
Yeah, and they don't have an over reliance on technology, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love. I absolutely love it.
It's a good mix for sure.
It's another reason that I enjoyed Naruto so much. They didn't have an over reliance on technology. At one point I didn't even know they had electricity in Naruto until I saw Tsunade walk into a casino and she started playing a pachinko machine. I'm like, what the hell?
I was like, that. Me too. I was like, what? Really?
Naruto went into an office and they had a computer, and this was part 1 Naruto, not Boruto. Part 1 Naruto, they had
actually like part 1 Naruto had, it wasn't as extreme, but it definitely had that feel where like it looked like feudal Japan, but at the same time you had certain things, but it wasn't so ancient that it wasn't crazy that they had all this stuff. But but you were still shocked.
Man,
that's like one aspect of one, like it's all the little things. How you can compare it to other series.
And that's why I think when it comes to a lot of storytelling, I like those series. They don't have an over reliance on technology. They're set
monitor and stuff.
They're based off of a time period that didn't have technology, but yet they still incorporate it. But like I said, it's not an over reliance.
Yeah, it's like all the tech. They don't have the tech. Like I feel like they don't have technology that can make it accessible to travel around the world, and they did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So they can keep them separated. That I think that's something we're gonna figure out in a long ass time. But
hell, in some of my One Piece fan fictions, I do bad fan fiction. I have air balloons like zeppelins and stuff, but it's not easily accessible. Like the public doesn't have access to this stuff, and you know the public already doesn't have access to these massive ships and everything because they're expensive.
It's like, yeah, you have some crazy advanced technology, but there's no airplanes or like hot air balloons, and that's on purpose because they don't want you traveling across the red line.
If we had
using their transportation,
if we had like Bushwick planes or the planes that they used to fight in like World War II, I'd be okay with that. I would love to see a dogfight, some type of dogfight in One Piece.
That would
don't make it to the point where this one plane can literally fly all the way around the world. Without refueling, or if it can, it has to refuel like devil every fruit, island.
Devil fruit power.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, if a plane ate a devil fruit, that would be crazy.
What devil fruit would it even have? If you give it a bird, that kind of
Ace's fruit.
If you give a plane a bird fruit, that kind of defeat the purpose of it being a plane. You give it, I guess you give it a tiger or something. Once you land, it literally just turns into a tiger and you ride it around. I'd never get out of my plane. Ever. Alright, but back on the topics. Damn, we went on a tangent. Oh shit, for like a half an hour too. What was the next topic? New crew member analysis. Wants versus actual possibilities. Vito, I don't think I've ever actually asked you
about what?
I don't think I've ever actually asked you about who do you believe or want. First, let's go based off of the wants first. Who do you want to join the Straw Hats? Whether it's somebody from the current arc or past arc, somebody you personally want, whether it'll make sense or not.
I think it's more so who I think has the potential because I don't think anyone right now deserves it.
Ooh, hot
But if I
take.
had to pick someone, I think Yamato, just because of her connection with Ace and how I think that will bond them together. Because normally when a character joins the crew, it's always someone that has a deep relationship with Luffy, and then when they join, they kind of form a bond with the crew as they go along. Sometimes you have a few characters here and there that interact with a character that joins, but overall, it's normally Luffy making the final decision and bonding with them primarily, rather than the whole crew kind of has to approve before, because they always give it up to Luffy to do. He's the one who decides.
Oh
They
yeah,
don't really
absolutely.
want to have a say in it. So I
And
think Yamato is a big one. I actually think that's the only character right now, in my opinion. I don't
so
like Carrot, so I know that's a bias. So I don't think
okay,
Carrot's gonna
yeah,
join. But I also think she
I was
hasn't
just
done
gonna
enough
ask
to
you.
join either.
I was just gonna ask you because I shit on Carrot so much. I feel like this is a good opportunity for me to kind of switch that up a little bit and go and try and defend Carrot a little bit. Why is it that you don't believe Carrot has a possibility? Because out of everybody in the current arc, I think she has one of the highest chances, but you know 5% out of a guaranteed 100 is still 5%.
I mean, yeah, I know, I agree. I think she does have the highest chance. I just don't think. I think it would be a mistake for her to join. I think the way Oda wrote her character, I honestly don't think it mends well with the Straw Hat crew, and also doesn't have a clear cut dream
The thing
like
that
the other Straw Hats have. Like you could say that she wants to take like Pedro's dream, bring the dawn to the new, but that's basically
Carrot had
a lot of
no
people's dream. She doesn't
ties.
have a dream that's unique to herself, and then also, that's the main thing. I can add on to more, but I want to just just start off with that.
Okay, first, real quick, Salamander Red, Tashigi in the mud, Silver's on the carrot train. Let's go. Silver's is not on the carrot train. Okay,
Fuck
is
Carrot.
that? Yeah, thank you. Hashtag no more carrots. Jesus Christ. The biggest thing when it comes to talking to people about Carrot and why I don't believe she's gonna join, and their counter argument for me is that because I always tell them Luffy really doesn't care that much about Carrot. He cares about her. Like if somebody attacks her, he's going to go back the fuck up. That's my friend. But in terms of him wanting her on his crew, he really doesn't care that much. Even if you take into account the filler scene of her talking to Luffy, praising his crew, and her talking about how she wants to go out to sea, he really didn't care. He was packing up his stuff, and when she said wow, while she was praising his crew, the only words out of his mouth were, yeah, hey, do you have any more of that meat? And people's counter to that was Luffy isn't the only one who can invite people onto the crew, and they brought up Chopper when Nami invited Chopper. But if you remember, while Sanji and Luffy were chasing Chopper around, Luffy wanted Chopper on the crew before Nami even brought it up to Luffy. Nami may have asked Chopper first, but Luffy came to the same conclusion without even talking to Nami. He didn't even know Chopper was a doctor when he was on the ship.
Yeah.
Once they left I'd call it the Drum Island. Once they left, they were partying underneath the cherry blossom snow, and then they said, "Wow, you can talk to animals?" He was like, "Yeah." And then Nami brought up he's also a doctor. What? You're a doctor too? Like Luffy doesn't care about Carrot. Luffy was chasing Chopper around. Yeah, Luffy was chasing Chopper around. Give us 3 legitimate reasons why Yamato makes sense for the crew. Okay, Luffy has a good interaction with her. Go. I've said it multiple times. I want Carrot to join. It's pretty much the opposite of how I feel about Carrot. I want Yamato to join, but as of right now, she doesn't have that much backing her. The only thing that she has over Carrot is the fact that she meshes really well with Luffy. She meshes with Luffy. Luffy's interested in her, and she obviously follows orders. Aside, Yamato literally has no role she can fit within the crew. At this point, all of the pivotal roles, all of the important roles on the crew are already filled. Like literally, they're already filled.
Also, I don't think Yamato still has a lot more to show us. So I don't think there's 3 guaranteed reasons where like there's no list to where what guarantees you to be a crew member. But I think she fulfills the potential where I think the Ace and her dynamic with Ace and how that connection could relate to Luffy, and this could lead to like a big moment for Luffy and how he feels about Ace after the time skip, because we know it looks like he kind of gotten over it, but I think that's just like he's just putting on an act. Honestly, I think with Tama and Yamato, I think that's going to be like a really deep conversation they're going to have, especially just judging how much like of a connection they both had with Ace, and I'm talking about Yamato and Tama, their connection. So I think that can definitely build up. I also think the Odin thing is actually really important, and maybe this is headcanon, but I think she's gonna finally realize that she needs to be her own person while she can inherit Odin's will or follow Odin as a role model, like have Odin as a role model. That's a whole different thing. I think that character arc will be solved as well, and I think that's the potential. But if that doesn't happen, in terms of what I'm thinking of her being in the crew, then I don't think she'll be in the crew, and she'll stay and help revitalize Wano.
Yamato has already understands that she's not actually Odin.
That too, like that's starting to come into fruition. I think there's a lot more to it though.
Yeah, definitely. She idolizes Odin because of the person that he was, but ultimately she understands I'm not actually Odin, and like she even made the declaration, I'm Yamato. Like my name is Yamato. So, and that I don't think that the Odin, like her connection to Odin is really all that deep, but I do think that eventually it will escalate to something different, because look at when she was running with Luffy, and I think Luffy said something about you're not Odin. They said something, and Yamato said, okay, you be Odin then. It's more about liberating Wano rather than just I'm this person. Saying Yamato and Arlong. Silvers, I'm saying Yamato and Arlong. Wait, Yamato and What? Dwayne Johnson. For real, if Jinbei dies, I believe he will ask the Straw Hats for help to help Arlong. Arlong is in a prison in East Blue right now. He doesn't really need help.
I don't see that comment.
You got to scroll up a little bit. It's from Dwayne Johnson.
I see.
As a matter of fact, it's right above your fuck carrot hashtag.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot more to Yamato. That's why I think if I had to pick one, it would be her. But I don't think anyone is looking. It's looking like they're going to join. I feel like you can always tell when someone's going to join. And I don't think I can tell yet. At least in my case, I know some people. Like with Carrot, I think it's actually more likely that Carrot joins or not. But I think I don't like her, for one, that I'm biased on that. Yeah. 2, I think it's very iffy. I think it's one of those characters where I think it's the most debatable, honestly.
Oh, absolutely, bro. I agree with your statement about how you can pretty much always tell when a character is going to join, with the exception of 2 characters. One of them being Robin. The second being
I agree.
The second is Frankie, up until we got to Enies Lobby. Once we got to Enies Lobby and we saw him helping out and, building a bond with Usopp, Sanji, and Robin, I started to get that feeling.
Where he built a bond with like half the cast at least before he joined. Normally it's after.
And at the time we were looking for a shipwright. And then we find out, my dream, I want to build an amazing ship. While we were in the market for a new ship, after the man stole more than half of the money that we had to buy amazing wood to build a ship.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
Like everything started to fall into place at that point.
I was watching that. I was like, I think he is going to join, but Oda is gonna like pull off some crazy shit. Like, because at first you're like, I thought a lot of people probably didn't think that, but like right after, like going into the arc, knowing they need a shipwright, I didn't think it would be Iceberg. He's too serious. I was like,
Iceberg
Frankie
was the
perfect
Iceberg
character.
has the same issue that it's the same reason why we can't recruit a king of a nation. He's literally literally running this
Yeah, he
entire
is,
island.
basically.
Personally, I thought it was either going to be Paulie or Rob Lucci.
Dude,
Until-
Paulie would be fire.
Bro, do you see Paulie's goddamn fighting style? That's unique as hell.
The K-Kona fighting style just gets me overboard, bro. It's awesome.
Bro, I love characters who fight with like a whiplash or some type of rope or chain.
That
God.
rope with hockey, bro.
Bro, oh my god. The man pulls them out of nowhere and he can do pretty much anything with them. He had shuriken on his ropes and oh my, Paulie was amazing. He was amazing.
Man, every character in almost every character in Water 7 was like goated.
Exactly. And for a city to be based off of Venice, Italy. No, another one that I thought, it was Kaku. Because he was at the time, I loved track jackets. And track jackets and a baseball hat. And
he has the design to be in the crew, but also he has this like a similar like big ass nose. So like
everyone kept comparing him to Usopp.
Yeah.
But at that time, Kaku was one of those characters that I was like, I hope he joins. Because he was
funny.
fearless. I want one of those characters that's constantly just swinging around the ship. I don't know if you've ever seen, it's an old DreamWorks movie called Sinbad. There's a character on there named Rat, and he's always up in the rafters of the ship. He sits in the crow's nest and he just swings around the ship. Whenever it gets dark, he lights a torch. He swings around the ship, lighting all of the lanterns. I love characters like that. I absolutely love
movie, right?
It's an old DreamWorks movie. It's called Sinbad: Legend of the Seven Seas.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it looked Disney to me, so that's why I thought it was Disney.
It was actually that was actually when the guy from Disney got fired or he left, created DreamWorks, and it was supposed to be 3 movies based off of some Arabian text. It was supposed to be 3 movies: Aladdin, Sinbad, and Alibaba. But
that's dope.
Aladdin came out. They couldn't get Sinbad made or the Alibaba movie. So when he left DreamWorks, he made Sinbad, and they just never made Alibaba.
Oh, okay. So who do you think's going to join? I kind of rested my case there.
Personally, and I don't know how much you looked into my channel, but I'm a big advocate for Momonosuke. I like his character so far. I don't get the whole thing of, oh, he's such a pervert. He's a little kid and he's a pervert. He cries too much. He's a kid. Of course
he's like 8 years old, bro.
Yeah, he's like 8 years old. I like the fact that Zoro has been teaching him swordsmanship. Sinbad Magi, not from Magi, but yeah, I like Momonosuke and I like where his character development is going. A lot of people bring up the fact that he's a kid and he has to stay behind like Vivi to help rebuild his country. Not necessarily. He's a kid, but if you look at the timeline of how long Shanks and Buggy were with Roger, because they joined his crew well before they went on that last voyage into the Grand Line. So, and at that time, at Ed War, I think they were like 12 or 13, or in the Odin flashback, I think they were like 12 or 11. And if they were with them years before that, they'd be close to Momonosuke's age. That nixes the too young thing. And plus, it's like we were talking about earlier, One Piece is not all about the fighting. And I do agree with certain points of that argument that he's too young, because look at the arc that we're in. We're going up against emperors, those types of crews. Momonosuke, like, granted, he is willing to attack somebody, but how effective is he going to be against, hell, even a grunt in an emperor's crew? How effective is he going to be? And that's one thing that I really can't disagree with. But I feel like the story purposes, like his story potential outweighs that minor thing. He can learn. He can learn the language he can learn the poneglyph language from Robin. He wants to reopen the country. He wants to open up Wano so people can come and go as he pleases, as they please, so he can learn all of these otherworldly skills from everyone in the crew. He can learn leadership from Luffy, and most of all, in order, if he wants Wano to be as great as it used to be but still reform it into something different, who better to teach you swordsmanship in a country of swordsmen than the future world's greatest swordsman? That's my stance on it.
Fair.
But
I think
aside from Momonosuke, I do believe that Vivi is coming back. 100%, I believe Vivi is coming back.
I think that's very possible. When I've heard you talk about this before. I'm not sure, maybe it was earlier in the stream or not, or some other stream. Or didn't you talk about it in a Eam stream when you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's probably where I got it from. I think you're right about that. I think with Momo, I think the big thing that why I don't think he's going to join is because in chapter 1 or episode 1, whatever, where the Luffy flashback with Shanks, he didn't join because he was too young. I think that's a big aspect, and I think more so Luffy's crew is it's very similar to Roger's, where I think Shanks and Buggy being on their crew it's a unique situation where I think they probably were. This is all headcanon, so it's really not based on anything. At least this portion of what I'm talking about, where they could have been picked up like when they were super young. Maybe they were orphans, kind of like how Blackbeard was going on to Whitebeard's ship. But with Momo, they're kind of in the end game of their journey, so I think it's going to be a similar situation where Momo is too young, where Shanks told Luffy he's basically too young, and then come back in 10 years, start your own crew, and become better than mine. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I see. And because I think with Luffy looking up to Shanks as a huge role model, that's why I don't think anyone that young will join the crew. But I think if Oda just makes it so Luffy just doesn't consider that, then everything about Momo being set up to join the crew, I've seen all the evidence leads clear. If Luffy doesn't care that he's that young and wants him to join the crew regardless, then he's going to let him join. And the reasons you listed are going to be the reasons why.
And another thing is, people tell me, then who's going to rule Wano if not Momonosuke? Do people forget that Momonosuke has a younger sister who's now like 20 years older than him, who's been in Wano through all of their hardships and downfalls, who knows how to deal with the scum of this country? I mean, look what she's been doing for the past 20 years. She's been seducing like shitty people and scamming them out of their money and giving it to Denjiro as the witching hour boy to pass that money out to the poor. Like, if anything, Hiyori, in my opinion, is the perfect leader to help reform Wano into the new era.
I agree. I think that whether he stays in Wano or goes with Luffy as a crew member, I think Hiyori is leading regardless.
Oh,
she's
absolutely.
going to become the Shogun regardless. And then she probably will voluntarily step down once Momo's old enough, because it's just how it is in just Japanese culture.
And look, and one of the things that I'm a big advocate for is Momonosuke and Yamato. I like Yamato, but like I said, she doesn't really have a lot of backing for her. But and one of the reasons that I think that Yamato is going to join, if Yamato and Momonosuke joins, is have the new current shogun, which I believe is Hiyori, raise up Wano, and have the old guard, which is Kinemon, Raizo, Kiku, and all of them, stay behind as Hiyori's vanguard. You know, her retainers, while Momonosuke goes out to learn how to be a better person, similar to how his father did, because we already know when Odin left, when he came back the better for it. He was a better person all around. And a lot of people tell me that his biggest mistake was leaving Wano. That wasn't his biggest mistake. His biggest mistake was not just instantly taking Kaido out the second he got there. He waited on it, and he just said, okay, this is how things are. I'm not the same person that I used to be, where I just run in and just fuck shit up. It was he became a better person for it, and Kaido even recognized that, telling him, if you would have come at me all those years ago, you would have killed me. You would have won. Like, no question about it. And yeah, God Usopp, that's what I'm saying. if Momonosuke goes out, he becomes a better person like his father. He come and have a new retainer for the shogun come up with him. You know, he has Yamato as his retainer, but Yamato is an actual part of the crew. It's not like Yamato is like Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, where they travel for a short while and then go back to Zou. Yamato is actually a part of the crew. But both of them have the same place to go back to once their journey is over. That's more of what I'm looking at it as.
Yeah, because I think I think what's cool about Momo, and if his possibility of joining, is that we're still seeing him develop, and he can develop even further. He's still in that stage where he doesn't have the glory of having a flashback to show that who he is today. He's still growing as a character just because of how young he is. And I think we're getting that dynamic where Momo's like one of the most unique characters, and also Tama, where we're seeing their rapid character development currently in the present day of the story. Absolutely. I think that's actually really dope to see the dynamic between characters that have already developed and are only changing slightly, and then also characters that are rapidly changing. Because like Momo from Punk Hazard and like currently in Wano are so different that it makes it so where you see Momo and Punk Hazard and Dressrosa. I honestly thought he was unbearable, but I still recognize that he was also a kid, so that's what makes him unbearable.
Yeah.
And what he has went through, we can't blame him for that. And then seeing him in Wano kind of rapidly develop, especially that moment in 986 where he like proudly yelled his name while he was like
he was about to be executed, and he
I think like it definitely wasn't a moment worth crying for with those editors, but it was a really good moment regardless.
Yeah, people are still arguing about that, whether it was that moment or if that moment has still yet to come. How can you not say that? How can you say it's not that moment? Like, granted, the
editor said that it was the moment in 986. Like, it was.
It makes no sense. Dwayne Brown, I was gonna bring that up in a second. Would you be upset if somehow Momonosuke got turned into an adult?
Well, that'd be fire.
Personally, I don't like it.
I don't like it, but I think Oda could execute it well if he wanted to do it.
But the thing is, if he does get turned into adult, all he's doing is getting a bigger body. How would he turn into an adult and, you know?
Yeah, his character, his personality, his maturity wouldn't. I think it would
he wouldn't have any skills, or he wouldn't have any skills either. He'd just be an older.
Yeah.
His body would be older, but he'd still be an 8-year-old.
Yeah, there's no difference. I think the only thing that it really adds is probably making his dragon form bigger and just himself like bigger as well. But also, you kind of lose the training you have to do while you're younger, because it feels like you're getting to that point when you're older. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if you training and aging naturally would just be better and make you stronger in the long run.
It's not like in Hunter x Hunter when Gon fought Pito, he got older and had ridiculous amounts of strength.
It was like his pact or whatever with the Nen thing.
Yeah, like he didn't Momo isn't gonna get some crazy skills just because he got.
That was him if he did train for like 20 years or something. It was some number like that.
The only way that Momonosuke would be able to go about this correctly is if he got pushed into the. I don't know if you've seen the filler arc in One Piece.
Good point, Eric. It could be that like if he did age, then it could be like how the Gon situation where he actually technically did train for 20 years, like he was doing.
But how would that be executed though?
I don't know. That's the thing. I think if he did do it, that's probably the case.
Have you seen the filler arc in One Piece about the rainbow mist and everything, where the mist was time travel and everything?
I didn't watch any filler.
Okay, the kids that Luffy met inside that mist, inside the fog, they traveled to this time period, but when they went back in, because time travel works in a way that everything you do in the future or do in the past, it's the result. Everything that, if you go back in time and try to change things, oh my god, this is going to be so cheesy. Master Oogway in Fu Panda said it the best. One often meets their destiny on the road they take to avoid it. So you going back in time to change something is the process that led to the current timeline. So if you didn't go back, things would actually be different.
Yeah.
So
I hate time travel in any show.
I hate it so much.
Unless you're going like how Toki's fruit is, it's fine.
So many people do time travel so differently that it really makes my head hurt, to the point where me and my friends have a box of topics, an imaginary box of topics that we don't talk about. That's the multiverse theory, time travel, and the potential of 100% capacity of your brain.
Yeah, I think the only show that I could see pull it off really well, it's a little off topic, is Steins Gate. I thought they pulled it off really well.
Hell yes.
It made it was super complicated, but it's supposed to be, because if it wasn't, then there would be a lot of plot holes.
Yeah. And most recently Avengers did it too, where, well, technically they just took the Dragon Ball logic of it. Changing things in the past doesn't necessarily change your future. It's just creating a divergent timeline. So
yeah, it was similar. I think they just didn't explain it well enough or go deep. They should have went deeper into it.
Yeah. But yeah, I like how Oda did it. You can only travel forward, no back. Going back would change the future, but the only way that I could see going back working, especially for Momonosuke, is if you throw him back in time, but he does not participate in Wano as it's going on. He doesn't interact. Is that what you
think? When people say they want Momo to age, you think they're going to put him back into time, or are you thinking of Shinobi or Jewelry Bonnie's fruit?
Yeah, I'm thinking more of Jewelry Bonnie and Shinobi's fruits. Oda already said there is no going back in time.
Yeah, I know. If Oda randomly wrote that'd be crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm personally I'm just gonna answer the question. I don't like it. If Momonosuke just gets aged up and has the power and has the potential of him, if he did train for those 20 years, I think it would be kind of an ass pull because Shinobu's fruit, I don't think it's an aging fruit. I think it's a disintegration fruit. It ages it to the point where
thing.
Yeah, it ages it to the point of disintegration, not just ages it up.
That's Bonnie's fruit.
Jewelry Bonnie can age things up, but again,
it might be different.
Yeah, again, they won't have the mentality. They won't have the strength or the mentality that they would have.
So to be clear on your crew member thing, you think it will be Yamato and Momo?
I made a video on it actually. I think it will be, as of right now. Well, when I made the video, obviously Jinbei, because at the time Jinbei wasn't full-fledged. Jinbei, Momonosuke, and then later on Vivi returns. Right. But now those three add Yamato, and I think that's my final crew. That's my final crew locked in.
I could see that. I think that's realistic. I personally don't think Momo's joining, but I think that's mainly just due to how I view Shanks and Luffy's relationship. But Luffy could take a different route. I know he always thinks things through his own way, so he could just disregard that. But but his crew is very similar to Roger, so I can see it going both ways. Clearly, I think it's not like I would say I'll give it a 55% chance that Momo doesn't join. That's just
it's up. Honestly, it's up in the air. Look in the One Piece chat in the Discord. There it is.
All right.
I've made so many different graphics for my crew. It's not even funny.
Clean.
I got my
Vivi joining. I think Vivi has to join. Has to.
Given the information that we have about the Reverie, unless she's captured, Vivi is making her way to the Straw Hats right now. Because we found out that Cobra did bring up the Void Century and the Poneglyphs, which we know no topic. They destroyed an entire island of people, blew up a ship of innocents because people were learning to read. That's all they were. These people were learning to read another language.
So
now this guy is bringing up to literally dozens of countries. There's a section of history that these people whose house we're in right now are keeping from us. I want to know why. I want to know why my ancestors didn't come to live up here. I want to know what happened in that 100 years. And then after everything is said and done, we get the newspaper. Somebody was killed, and an assassination and another assassination was attempted. I think the person that was killed was Cobra. The world government is assuming control of Alabasta and branding Vivi an enemy of the state or an enemy of the world. And once we get out of Wano, because that falls back into place with information gets into Wano very easily, but information doesn't get out. By the time we leave Wano, and because we're in the middle of a big war, nobody's reading a newspaper right now. When we leave, we're going to get a newspaper and find out, yeah, Vivi's on the run. Vivi's on the run, and I think the world government blamed the revolutionaries for the death of Cobra.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also,
Vivi does not have to join again. She's already in the crew. Okay, Gon, I respect that.
That's a technicality. That's you know what we mean.
Yeah,
you know what.
Gon,
like
Gon, you know what the hell we mean, bro.
Being technical up in here, but he also said, he thinks Lady Toki's not dead.
Who, Gon?
Yeah, if you go up to his previous message.
The whole combo is why Lady Toki is not dead. It would ruin too much for anyone else to gain the Devil Fruit power. Okay, Toki could be dead, and Oda just never reintroduces the Devil Fruit.
Toki trash as of now. I hope we get a flashback with her though.
Toki is the reason everything went to shit. I want everybody in here to understand that Toki is the reason that Wano is as shit as it is right now. Because when Odin came back and Kinemon was going, Odin, listen, everything here is fucked. And Toki said, no, stop, don't say anything. He has to go on this journey. Excuse me. He's on Roger's ship. Okay.
He just pull up and beat his ass.
Kaido mentioned later on, if Odin would have would have taken him on at that point, Odin would have won. Second, the guy who whooped his ass a few years earlier is on a ship right outside. Go get him and his crew.
Yeah, I think that's weird because that's before they even knew about the destiny of Wano.
Exactly.
Like the prophecy. So like why wouldn't they just go help? It would take like not even a day.
Bro, Roger beat the ass of Kaido's captain, as far as we know. Beat the ass of Kaido's captain, Kaido, Shiki, Big Mom, and Whitebeard. Obviously with the help of Garp, but still.
They beat their ass, bro.
It was a 2v5. Plus
I think
the
a lot of people interpret that as just them versus Rocks, but I completely disagree. I think it was everyone.
Those two guys.
Everyone, like all the other, like Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard, they weren't, maybe not Whitebeard, we don't know, but they definitely weren't close to what their current strength is now. So it makes it more believable.
Exactly. But even still, you have half of...
They're still OP as hell, though.
Yeah, you have half of the force that took out your entire crew that took out Kaido's entire previous crew sitting right at the shore. Go get him plus his entire crew who was just fighting the guy that was on Kaido's previous crew, Whitebeard. Go get him, and as a matter of fact, call Whitebeard too. Because
get the whole squad, bro.
Exactly. You left one of your guys with Whitebeard. Izo is like still there.
Have you watched JoJo's Part 5?
I have not. I am only on Part 2. I rewatched it.
It's not a spoiler, but there's basically a part on a boat where they just gang up on one guy and just beat his ass. And that's just what reminded me. Like, if you watch JoJo's Part 5 in chat, you know what I'm talking about.
Bro, all I'm saying is that Wano could have been saved. All Toki had to do was let Kinemon finish talking. Odin was already saying this is not my home. It's not what it's like before I left. It's a shadow of what it was. Okay, go get Roger and call Whitebeard. Fuck up Kaido. The three of you can beat Kaido right now. Fuck up Kaido, cut off Orochi's 9 heads, and take your home back. yeah, you might have to be the shogun, or you can appoint a
You can
council.
still leave after that.
Yeah,
You can still
appoint a council or something to run everything while you're gone.
just have your boys run it, and he'll be back in like a year. Easy.
Exactly. Toki ruined Wano. Toki ruined Wano.
Toki can save it though with the information she has of the Void Sentry, in my opinion.
She could have told Roger everything that they wanted to know. She could have told.
Yeah, but it's like a Luffy situation where I don't think he would have wanted to know.
Yeah, like I don't want to go on a boring adventure. And Roger was on the last leg of his life, and he wanted to spend that last leg on that adventure. I don't think.
Yeah, because they basically were just almost there. They had everything they really needed.
Yeah, and then they find out, hey, we have those red things that you guys wanted. Back
I just think it's a big missed opportunity that she didn't mention like one thing, at least like hint something.
Give us like she probably did tell Odin about some things because
I just wish we saw it.
Yeah, he knows that she's from the Void Century. It's just
I think we're gonna go. I think the Odin flashback's honestly not complete. I think we might get more of it later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With more so with a different point of view in terms of like Toki's point of view.
I mean, Rayleigh was about to tell us everything, but Luffy told.
Well, I don't think he would have, regardless, even if they said yes.
Yeah, like no, he was about to tell Robin. He was about to say something to Usopp, but Luffy was like, "No, shut the fuck up." And Rayleigh was like, "I like this guy."
Dude, fuck Usopp 2020. I know a lot of people don't like Usopp. I like Usopp.
I love Usopp.
That moment just reminds me of all the Usopp haters, and that's basically Luffy. He's the Usopp hater in that situation.
Usopp is one of my favorite characters simply because, like I said earlier, he's more of a tactical fighter. Hell, I'm still holding out that, like, because of the layout of Onogashima, I still want him to have a long range sniper fight. Like, a lot of people were jumping on me for this, but if Usopp were to fight, let's say, what was her name? Flampe. Flampe's a decent shot, and she can kind of fly, and she can float around too. Usopp is an amazing shot if somebody is standing still, and if he has a clean shot. But imagine if Flampe is floating around on Onogashima, ducking behind buildings and taking out people on our side, like from the air, and Usopp can't get a good shot off on her because she's floating around and hiding and taking cover everywhere. He's running counter sniping and also trying to get a good shot off on her. I feel like that would have been a good tactical fight, and it would have gave him an opportunity to flex his observation hockey and pull off an amazing trick shot. I would have loved to see something like that. Hell, even if you don't agree with the Flampe part, replace it with somebody else. Kaido has a plethora of artificial zones on his crew. Insert fucking B-Man and have him be a sniper. Boom,
that'd be funny if one of the gifters we got introduced to and all those gags, like he fights like all those characters. That would be super funny.
If Usopp fights all of the gifters, I will be absolutely happy.
With Tama? You got the Kimi Damagos.
I'd be okay with that too. A lot of people. That's another theory that used to be like super popular. Like Tama shooting the Kibidongos into the mouths of the gifters and taming all of them.
I think that's definitely going to happen.
At some point. At one point, I thought it was a definite 2. At this point, I think it's more of she's not going to get all of them, but she's going to have a sizable. It's not
going to be like a major role, but it'll definitely like do some. It'll help.
Yeah, she'll have a sizable group.
What could be cool is that you could see maybe, I don't know. Actually, never mind. I was going to say, like, if Usopp and Tama were like going up with Luffy, they could just shoot all of them in the gift, like all the people that are attacking him. Just get them out of the way.
Just snipe them all into the mouths of them.
So they don't have to. Yeah. But we'll see.
All right.
Usopp versus King.
Wait, what? Usopp versus King? What the hell, Gon? I feel like Usopp getting murdered. You saw what he already got murdered by
Ulti.
Oh yeah, Ulti in page 1. I mean, but I think a lot of people are.
I don't know why people thought that was going to be like.
I think people are expecting Nami to circle back around for Ulti. I think that'd be an interesting fight.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting away from that.
Yeah,
I think they're going to get wrecked.
But did page 1 hang back, or I can't remember it completely.
I feel like Ulti just did all the work.
Oh yeah, because she told page 1 go after them, and he was like, you go get them yourself. I think Usopp may actually be may actually face off against Page One. Usopp against Page One, Nami against Ulti 1v1. But Nami and Tama are together right now, so
I just don't see them. I think they're not strong enough. But I think they'll have help or something like that. So
if it's not a tag team, I think this will be one of those ridiculously hard fights that they overcome. But ultimately, I do think that they're going to get some type of fight. I mean, they're already beat the hell down.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think a flying six. I think it's just too much for them to handle, though. That's just my take, at least from what we've seen.
I think I agree with you because I'm still holding out for Zoro versus Who's Who because I like Who's Who's character. I like Who's Who, and I want him to be a full-on swordsman.
It makes more sense because we haven't. I think Zoro is actually stronger than we think, but he hasn't proved it. So we need I feel like we need multiple fights with him to make it make sense for him to fight Kaido. Because I think he's definitely fighting Kaido, but I think he needs that Who's Who and into King and then into Kaido. I feel
the climbing the ladder thing because
that's what Luffy had to do. He fought Cracker, then Katakuri, and now
he's going up against
Kaido, but now he's training again to fight Kaido.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I do believe that Zoro is stronger than a lot of people actually believe him to be. But it's because we haven't seen that building.
Same with Sanji. I think Sanji needs that too.
Oh hell yeah!
I think honestly we've seen more what Sanji can do more than Zoro. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that I actually want Zoro to fight Who's Who, and the reason that I want Who's Who to be just a swordsman, not a devil fruit user, is because Zoro hasn't had a fight with an actual swordsman. Every fight that he's had required him to learn a technique that builds upon his swordsmanship, because against Mr. One, he had to learn to cut steel. With I forgot what his name was in Skypiea, but he developed flying slashes.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know who you're talking about. I just don't know his name.
Yeah, the guy with the flash guns. And then after that, he had to fight Ohm, who had the long distance thing, and he got even further with his flying slashes. And with Pika, he demonstrated that I can cut something this goddamn big. He's elevating his swordsmanship, but he hasn't really gone up against actual swordsmen.
He hasn't had really that many honestly, the fights he wins are normally not that difficult for him throughout the series.
Yeah, and I tell people this a lot. It's not Zoro's fighting style. It's not an exchange of blows. It's deflecting.
One big strike. Yeah, and that's why his fights aren't I feel are going to be high diff, really extreme high diff, like Luffy versus Lucci or Katakuri. But maybe with Mihawk it might be different. I think that's when it's gonna.
It's not like what's his name in Bleach? Fuck. Spiky hair, eye patch.
Oh, Kenpachi.
Yeah, it's not like Kenpachi where Kenpachi takes 1,000 slashes and is still going. In One Piece, a sword fight is all over with one decisive blow.
Yeah, because their clashes are basically just them clashing swords. That's basically Luffy exchanging punches with other characters.
Exactly. A sword is really built for just a one shot. Is really built for one shot moves.
Yeah, because the damage capacity is so high, but it's also hard to get that hit in. That's the draw. I guess a drawback in that term of that fighting style. Especially if you're fighting another swordsman.
The only time that we've actually had something similar to what Kenpachi was against Mr. One, because his whole body was blades and Zoro was taking slashes left and right.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, a sword fight is over in one decisive blow. That's the purpose of a sword.
It's been shown throughout One Piece. Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah. And
him versus Kaku, he had I feel like that's his most difficult fight he won, but it wasn't really that difficult as well. Also parallel that to Sanji, Sanji kind of, once he got Diable Jambe out, he kind of dominated.
A blunt force hit, it hurts like hell, but it is less lethal than a fucking slash or a stab.
So I always thought that dynamic was interesting, where whenever Zoro wins, it's always decisive. It's pretty convincing. But whenever he loses, it's always he gets wrecked, like how with Kuma and stuff. He had no chance.
Dwayne Brown said, "Would you prefer Usopp to awaken another type of hockey or bloom more with observation?" I think observation would be a better thing for Usopp, especially given his fighting style. If he was to get armament hockey, that'd be cool, but how often would he use? I mean, granted, armament hockey, you can add force behind projectiles. I mean, just look at the Amazons on Amazon Lily, what they do with their arrows. But for Usopp's fighting style, as tactical as he is, I think it would benefit him more to develop his observation hockey a lot, like way better. And I'm not talking about the future sight, like skill tree, more of just like the long distance aura perception kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's definitely branches of observation. I don't know what it could be, but it just seems like with knowing how Fujitora does it, knowing how like what we've seen in Skypiea and how it's used there, and with Sanji as well, I feel like has a similar affinity to like that type of observation hockey.
And to be honest, I feel like once Katakuri was introduced and shown, and his future sight was shown, a lot of people forgot what observation hockey does. Observation hockey is already, in a sense, a type of foresight. Like you're sensing the things that are around you, and if you're looking at somebody, it works like the Sharingan. The slightest movement in somebody, you see what that is, and you pretty much just predict what their next move is going to be, and you.
It's just like peripheral vision on steroids.
Exactly. So I would much prefer Usopp to develop the aura perception and, like, I guess you could call it his goggle sight, like how far he can see.
You can also think of it like how Rayleigh, he was able to, like in Sabaody, he was able to use his observation hockey throughout. Like, or maybe that was Ruskina, where he like observed about how there's a lot of animals stronger than you.
Oh yeah, that was on Ruskina.
He had a scouter basically.
He stepped on the island, closed his eyes, and was like 100, 200. Yeah, there are so many animals on this island that are so strong, I can't even count them all. Like, I would love for Usopp to have something like that. Now imagine Usopp sitting up in a crow's nest. All right, one thing that I like to bring up is, imagine Usopp sitting in the crow's nest. You remember when Van Augur sniped those birds from an island away that they couldn't even see yet? Imagine Usopp sitting in the crow's nest on their way to fight, and they're on their way to fight Blackbeard, and Van Augur is sniping at the ship, getting ready to pick people off. Nobody can do anything because nobody has that distance. Usopp goes up into the crow's nest, and he's running counter sniping. I would love to see something like that. Like, just snipe, like him and Van Augur are having a sniper fight, like from a distance away that you really can't even see.
That would be so sick.
Yeah, granted, translating it to the panel probably wouldn't look all that interesting unless it's like high intense.
Crazy.
Hell yes. I would love something like that. Isn't Breath of All Things a type of advanced observation? No.
I don't think
Usopp, Breath of All Things is not a thing. The Breath of All Things, well, okay, I'm not going to say it's not a thing because I'm not going to say anything is concrete at this point. Because at one point I didn't believe that the Black Blade thing was because of hockey. Because we have black swords. Because we have black swords in our world. It's tempered with a certain type of oil. But
true.
Breath of All Things stemmed from when Zoro was standing in the rubble. It was like, I can hear everything. I can hear the breath of the trees. I was able to hear where the rubble was gonna fall. I can even tell that my sword is right there underneath that rock. That, in my opinion, was Zoro using like early signs of observation hockey. It was just the way he described it that people connected that, because he said it's like things are breathing, and he was able to hear everything. And then Luffy said, "Oh, the voice of all things."
It could be a combination of both.
Honestly, I don't think there's a such thing as the breath of all things. I think it was just the early signs of observation hockey. But like I said, that's just me.
But him cutting steel. What do you think that was then?
That was a sword technique, or it was either a sword technique, but no, it was a sword technique. But we now know it's a sword technique developed with armament hockey. We learned that in Udon prison.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that then. Yeah,
So
that's what I think.
So as far back as Alabasta, we had.
I thought you
sons
meant
of
when
hockey.
it's not a thing that you meant like it wasn't hockey related at all.
Oh hell no, that was definitely
like, that's
hockey
armament, at
related.
least.
That's armament and observation hockey. What I'm saying is that people are saying that Zoro has something similar to the voice of all things, the breath of all things. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think the breath of all things is a thing. Somebody. The breath of all things was only brought up one time, right? It was only brought up with Zoro in Alabasta. And it was just the way he described it, you know.
Yo also brought it up in Udon, but it was like pretty similar to what Rio was.
Yeah, I think it's just the way that swordsmen describe observation hockey. You know, being able to hear the breath of everything. As a matter of fact, I think in like the real world, don't they describe things with with breathing? Because I know in Kendo, there's actually certain like breathing techniques for different sword styles.
I wouldn't have knowledge on that, but that would make sense. I guess it reminds me of meditation a little bit too.
There we go. That's exactly.
I guess that what you're talking about. Oh, okay.
Yeah. How the hell did I forget the word meditation?
It reminds me of that, like, cause yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I apologize. I just had to take a quick swig.
Yeah, I think that was pretty good. I think we can move on to I kind of want to talk about the ancient weapons now. That shit's fun. I'm down.
Hold on, how long we've been going for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, that was crazy.
All right, the ancient weapons. What are they and their role in the series? Do you want to open this up?
Yeah, because I think I have like 2 possibilities that I personally think they could be, but I've also seen other theories about what they are. So I think one of my first ever videos I've made. It was a while ago. Before I just made it just for fun. I wasn't like actively posting like I did in April.
Yeah.
But I made it a video talking about how I think the ancient weapons, they're like the 3 of them are unique. And it's not like how Shirahoshi, her power is basically, I would say, more so a trait or a gift passed down just through genetics alone, where I feel like that's kind of like that's like one unique power where you could say whatever you want to call it. You could call it the voice of all things, or what? Yeah, the voice.
Yeah, the voice of all things.
And then you could akin it to like it's super advanced observation hockey that's unique to her, or whatever you want to do that. And then you have Pluton, which was the first, I think it was the first ancient weapon mentioned, where it's a literal weapon.
Yeah,
right?
it's a ship.
It's a literal weapon. So I think that those 2 are different. That's why I think Uranus is going to be something completely different from both of them. Or if it's not the case, then every single weapon is like, it works the same way as how Shirahoshi controls her weapon. And then that would probably make Momo another ancient weapon. And then Pluton could be also controlled that way as well. I know they said it was a literal ship, but
yeah, it could be. There could be somebody who.
It could be something different where it's actually controlled by like one person.
Yeah, it could be something along the lines of the person who's running the ship literally has control over the entirety of the ship.
Yeah, like that unique like. So what I thought, like I'm still down with this theory. I think it's pretty headcanon, but definitely has some evidence, because I looked into Greek mythology, Roman mythology involving like several mythological gods, basically, that kind of share a similar power to what literally what Uranus is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's most of those every time I looked at a different interpretation, it always involved the weather. also like obviously wind from what we've seen in
Oh
the
yeah,
series.
and I'm glad that you're
You might
bringing
know
this
where
up
I'm
too.
going with this,
I know
but I think
I'm glad that
that
you're bringing this up because it leads into my whole idea of what the ancient weapons are.
because I actually think that it's a big reach, and I'm willing to admit that because I don't think it's very likely, but I think it's more of a fun theory rather than where I think I'm like, oh shit, this actually makes perfect sense. But I think it's possible just judging from what Oda has been setting up. So Pluton, let's say it is a ship, and then Shirahoshi, and then with her power, literal human with I would say a unique trait. That's what I classify it as. And then I would say that Uranus to me could be a devil fruit power, and I think that Dragon has that devil fruit power.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
Because I think it's pretty out of the ordinary, but I think it's definitely one of the multiple interpretations you can take what the ancient weapon is. I don't think it's far fetched. Like it could not be that could be completely wrong, but I think it's pretty ignorant to say that that's not a possibility. It has no chance. Because from what we've seen with Dragon's introduction, he was able people say that the lightning that hit Luffy was all by chance.
Yeah, like at one point I thought it was a stroke of luck too.
Because Nami was talking about how the weather patterns are slowly changing, and it goes to show how like the wind and the storm clouds are slowly coming. And I think that's what Dragon did is like the closer he got, the more it affected the weather. And I think he did all that on purpose, and that's what he did to save Luffy. And knowing from mythology, that's all the powers that like Uranus has. And it's weird because the reason why I think it's like a unique devil fruit is because it has like multiple properties. Because normally with devil fruits, they have one main power where you can turn into a lot of other things. But normally it's just like with Luffy's fruit, it's just rubber, but you can do a lot of things, but it's basically rubber. With this power, you're controlling multiple things. You're controlling the weather, you're controlling wind, and by using that you can control other aspects. Like you can be very creative, and Oda can be very creative. And basically, let's say it's a storm fruit. That's what Uranus is. For lack of a better term.
Oh no.
He can move around ocean currents. Like he can control like literally everything, and that's pretty broken. But I think what's more likely, for another theory, is that Momo is probably Uranus. Just judging how him and Shirahoshi share a very similar way in how they control their like giant beasts, basically. But it also would make it cool. I think it would be more interesting, and it makes a lot more sense that since Pluton is not, at least from what we know, doesn't work the same way as how Shirahoshi controls Sea Kings or Momo controls Zunisha, then it would be better if every ancient weapon was completely different from each other and represented each of the power systems in one piece. Because you have devil fruits, you have just straight up technology, and then you have traits where I involve hockey and stuff in like that. Which that's my theory. That's what I think the ancient weapons are, but I think it's more likely since Oda really hasn't been setting that up yet. And it's interesting to know that we haven't even figured out what Uranus is whatsoever. Even like the idea of what it is. And coincidentally, we don't know anything about Dragon either. I think it's definitely not a coincidence. And I think Oda, because I've heard this theory actually a decent amount before, where Dragon's either in possession of it or he is the ancient weapon. So it's not like a new theory that I've never heard of, and it makes sense. I think Oda's purposely writing it this way to where he wants us to think that way, but also think that Momo could also be the one too. But there's also the egg. I know a lot of people think the egg could, whatever that could be. I don't know. That's what I think. I know it's a long.
Honestly, I still don't think that that's an actual egg that was on his ship. I know.
Yeah,
I know that there are like models of the Oro Jackson that show that that's an egg. I think it was just the way the ship was built that made it look like that, and the painting is just polka dots. But I could be wrong about it. I like the idea that you're going with. It's just that the way that I think it happens is like you said, the power of Poseidon is a power that's passed down through this specific race. It's to control the Sea Kings, and I do like the idea, I do like the idea that Momonosuke is one of the ancient weapons as well. But that's only if the 3 ancient weapons are individual super weapons by themselves. Me personally, I think the ancient weapons are monsters alone, but they can be brought together, and it's a devastation on all fronts: land, water, sea, land, water, and air, which is where I think dragon comes into play. Ooh, excuse me. With Poseidon being a power that's inherited, Pluton being a power that's created, and I think Uranus may be a power that's given. And I think that may be what Dragon is in possession of. Where Shirahoshi controls the monsters of the ocean, Shirahoshi controls the Sea Kings, which rule the ocean, and Uranus and Pluton is a massive battleship that can, and I think they've even said it can level an entire island. I think it may actually, the Noah may actually be an incomplete Pluton, and from the way that the Sea Kings were towing Pluton, I think that may actually play into, not Pluton, the way that the Sea Kings were actually towing the Noah, I think that may actually be how those 2 weapons are meant to work together. And if my speculation is correct of Dragon being an ancient weapon who controls the sky, and granted, we already know that the winds are the dictating factor on the ocean. Like if you control the wind, you control the ocean. Like
you're broken.
look at what happened to Shiki in the Battle of Edwar. A massive storm took out his entire fleet. So place Dragon on the Pluton with we've already seen how big the Noah is. It was about to crush Fishman Island, facing down. Now imagine it just like sitting on the ocean. That arc is massive. Now put Dragon on that ship with Sea Kings towing it. Yeah, you pretty much have something that you literally cannot break down. If you can make it through the storm, you have to face the Sea Kings. And if you get past the Sea Kings, the literal country-sized wall of cannons are going to tear you down. I think that's how the 3 ancient weapons are meant to function together, but separately they're still massive superpowers that could level and destroy the entire world individually. If you're in possession of one of them, you're almost unstoppable. If you're in possession of all 3, nobody's taking you out. Like you don't rule this country, you rule the world.
It's crazy.
And as for their purpose in the story, at this point, I think it's literally just to give power to one side. Like literally just
I think that's the main reason, but I also think that they could be used to destroy the Red Line.
Oh yeah, at some point.
But I don't think that's why they were quote unquote made, or they were probably there before then, but I think that's like their newfound purpose or part of their purpose.
What was it? Do you agree with the idea that there is a Pluton in Alabasta somewhere? Because I know Dritz is a big advocate and a big believer of this theory. That's why Crocodile was in there.
I think it would make sense, because why would I don't think Crocodile knew about, before going to Alabasta, knew about the poneglyph. He just knew about the rumor that Pluton was there. Right?
He knew about the poneglyph. That's why he got Robin to translate it to find where Pluton was.
Right.
And I think
he just knew about the poneglyph. I don't think but the thing is, he knew that the poneglyph knew about the location of Pluton.
Yeah, he knew about the location of Pluton, and because it was in Alabasta, I think he just assumed that the weapon was in Alabasta somewhere. But much like the much like the poneglyph in Skypiea that told Robin where Poseidon was, which was literally, you might as well say, in the opposite direction. I think the poneglyph in Alabasta told you where the ancient weapon was, where Pluton was, or where the blueprints to Pluton was, which is in Water 7. And remember, back when Iceberg handed the blueprints off to Frankie, he asked him, why not just destroy them or take them off of this island? And I think Iceberg said something along the lines of, Tom told me that you can't, like, you just can't, it can't leave this place, because that poneglyph tells you that the blueprints are here in Water 7. And if you take them off of here, then you're literally making that map irrelevant.
Yeah, which is interesting, because what they thought the purpose of the blueprints is for a counter Pluton, but what if Pluton was never made?
And the blueprints literally say Pluton on them. It's not counter Pluton. It's literally the blueprints to Pluton.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what CP9 was after, the blueprints to Pluton. Hey, I'm D Queens here.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, which is interesting because, because it wasn't a counter Pluton, but that's what they thought the purpose was for it, which is actually really cool.
Yeah, in all honesty, I do think that at some point these three weapons will come together, and at some point it's going to destroy if not a large portion of the red line, it's going to destroy a section of the red line. It in my opinion, it has to.
Yeah, I don't think you need to destroy the whole thing. You could just make passageways in the red line, not destroy the whole thing. But I think it's likely that it will. It's a massive
continent that engulfs that goes all the way around the world and stretches into the clouds.
Yeah, it would be awkward to destroy.
That'd be like a construction project that would take years. I mean, look how long it took. Look how long it took to build To Kill a Wolf. They've been doing that for hundreds of years.
Yeah, I think I don't know. The ancient weapons are something that are so. Oh my god, I cannot wait till we get more detail on that. Because I love the aspect of ancient weapons. They're so. It's so well done. I feel like what Oda has done with these, and I think it's going to be like that reveal of what the ancient weapons are, what their purpose are, and then that connection to the Void Century. It's probably going to break the internet for a solid week.
God Usopp said maybe Crocodile was right and didn't take into account that it could have been a person, maybe Vivi. I like that idea too. Maybe that's the reason that the Nefertaris didn't go up to live in didn't go up to live in Mary-Joie. Maybe much like Shirahoshi, the Nefertari line are the ones to control Pluton. And maybe that's another reason that we don't actually have a Nefertari who's alive of the actual bloodline, because I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but I don't think Cobra is a descendant of the Nefertari family. I think it was Vivi's mother. And
that'd be interesting.
If Vivi's mother was the last one to control Pluton, it makes sense as to why she's dead. Don't want that kind of person in the world who can literally summon a massive battleship to destroy any country they want. That would make Alabasta the ruling power. And with her dead and Vivi not in the know of how to control this, hell, Shirahoshi just now found out that she has this power, and she just turned 16.
It's wild.
Yeah, Vivi pre-time skip was 16. She's 18 now. Hell, that may actually come into fruition, but I'm not gonna claim that. Like, God do Usopp,
that would be dope. I would like that a lot.
Yeah, I would love that if we find out that Vivi is actually the commander of this ancient weapon. I'd be 100% down for that. I'd be down for it. I'm not going to jump on that boat immediately, because I'm gonna stick to my dragon. My dragon is Uranus. And
do you think he's literally Uranus, or do you think?
I think it's a power that was given to him, because I like the idea that Dragon was a part of the world government or the Marines or whatever. He found something out and he got the fuck out of Dodge. And maybe the tattoo on his face is a marking that you get to represent, yeah, I have this power. Like, who, I don't know. That's just some wild fan fiction that I came up with at some point. That the tattoo over his
It means
face
something.
is the
It's not
marking.
fair for show.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely represents something. Like the Skypeans get those tattoos because it's a part of their culture. As far as we know, Dragon's not Skypean. Why does he have a tribal tattoo going across his face? Personally, I think when you inherit the power of Uranus, the power to control the wind, the storms, that marking is a representation of that.
So if you think ancient weapons are just there just to be raw military power, do you
At
think
first,
they were on the side of the ancient kingdom?
At
Because if
first,
it was, then how would they have lost?
I think that the ancient kingdom created these weapons to combat the powers that be that eventually became the world government.
So you think they came into fruition after they lost, probably, and they made them so in the future they can use them to defeat them? Or do you think they're already created?
Either that, or they created them to combat the world government, but
it was too late.
Yeah, but it was too late. They lost. These ancient weapons were either discarded because they couldn't be destroyed. Like, look at Poseidon. Look at Poseidon. That's a power to be inherited.
Yeah.
Maybe they executed that Poseidon, and years later another one came up, and that was probably the one that Joy Boy dealt with and made the promise to and everything. The ship, massive as hell, they destroyed it, but the blueprints were created, and the ancient kingdom sent those blueprints to be hidden away somewhere, and that's where the Kozuki came into play. We're going to make these poneglyphs to tell the story of what happened, where to find these ancient weapons and everything, so it's not lost to history. And as for Uranus, if it is how I think it will play out in Dragon, and it's a power to be given, not inherited, that they probably passed the power on through so many people that they just couldn't find it anymore. Like it just got lost amongst the crowd.
Yeah. So do you think if it's a power to be inherited, do you think all of them are powers to be inherited? So it would make sense if two of them are like that, why not the third one be a power that's inherited as well? Just to fulfill that pattern.
I think the only one to be inherited is Poseidon. Because we know no matter what, the person to be Poseidon is always going to be a mermaid. No question, it's always going to be a mermaid. It's inherited. Sure. It's inherited through your bloodline, or through this species, or through this race. Not Poseidon. I already said Poseidon. Pluton. Jesus Christ, why couldn't you call it something else without a P? Pluton is a power that's created. You have the blueprints. You can create as many of these goddamn things as you want. And Uranus, I don't think that it's inherited. I don't think that when this Pluton dies, that power is just non-existent until it's inherited by another newborn mermaid. I think that this power, no matter what, is going to exist in this world. If you try and execute the person with Uranus at that time, it's either gonna go to either the person that they last thought about, or they willingly give it up to whoever they want to.
Like Poseidon comes in it's like every generation or every other generation.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's like the Avatar. When this one dies, another one is born.
That's pretty. Yeah, and with that's why I just if Poseidon is inherited, Pluton's an actual weapon.
Poseidon's inherited.
Uranus, that's why I think Uranus has to be something
Pluton,
like a devil fruit or something. That's just why I think of the devil fruit. Just because all three are different.
Pluton is inherited. I mean, not Pluton. Poseidon's inherited. Pluton is created, and Uranus is given. That's the way that I think. That's the way that I look at it. Damn it! I had it written out in a script too, but I think I deleted it. It's some type of something about good graces and inheritance, creation, and charity. It's something about religion that deals with those three. And I went and I looked into it a lot when I was younger, and I was like, holy shit, this actually makes sense. I cannot find it, and I know I'm not going to find it. This stuff isn't even half as interesting as the moon people.
Oh,
Like,
Silvers.
what the fuck are they doing up there? Oh.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be
All
right
right,
back.
yeah, go ahead, man. All right, God Usopp. I like Avatar Shirahoshi. Shut up, going. God Usopp. I like the idea of an expanded universe, but I don't want to go to space. I don't want to go to space. I think that the moon was terraformed at some point. And yeah, we do have like aliens and shit, but I don't think it's going to come into play that much. Yes, we know there were Skypians who lived up there, and there were Skypians who went to the moon and colonized it. But oh my goodness, I don't know what the moon is going to bring, and honestly, I don't like to talk about it at this point because, like I said, I don't like the sci-fi. I don't like the sci-fi aspect of things so far. I don't like the sci-fi aspect of certain things, like the cyberpunk era is not a particularly interesting time to me because everything is relying on technology. I like it. It's just that I like the eras where you aren't very, like, you don't depend on technology for everything, because if something breaks down in the sci-fi era, they're like, oh my god, we need a hyper thruster turbo converter to fix this, otherwise we're fucked. And then they go on an adventure to look for this thing. With a pirate era thing, if the ship breaks, okay, make it to that island. We're going to chop down some trees. We're going to build up on this. But in the meantime, we're going to search this goddamn island. And then there are actual people that you have to deal with instead of, and it's more, in my opinion, a one-on-one fight where it's up close and personal. A melee fight is more interesting than a gunfight, because it's more personal and it's not as long range and it's not over as quick. A gunfight, bang, one shot to the head and that's it. That's game. That's the end of the fight. A sword fight or a fist fight, it lasts longer. In my opinion, it's more interesting. I'm not for the space arc. I don't want a space arc. If we go to the moon, let it end at the moon. Okay? I don't want One Piece to be Treasure Planet, even though I fucking love that movie. I don't want One Piece to be Treasure Planet. Two Piece takes place in space. That's where the real One Piece is. Jesus Christ. Alright. I think Oda made a joke recently saying that he was more interested, like he's writing a sequel series called Two Piece. Like, please no. How old is Vivi? I'd flip if Toki was her mom. We've seen Vivi's mother, a picture of her at least. I think her name was Titi Nefertari. Titi Nefertari. Yep, we've seen Vivi's mother. We've seen a picture of Vivi's mother. Hell, in Chapter 0 and Episode 0, we saw Vivi's mother. She just looked like Vivi. With his son Buffy? No. Can we not talk about Two Piece? Can we not talk about
What
Two
did
Piece?
I come back to?
No, they were talking about the space, like the moon and space and the space arc. And Two Piece is going to take place in space. Luffy with his son Buffy. No. No.
Oh no, that's funny as fuck.
Laugh-Tale is on the moon. I've seen theories that made it seem plausible, but I'd much rather it be on Earth, because if we look up,
like, if it's on the moon, like, okay, you hit the X mark the spot, but then like when you for the four road poneglyphs purpose is just for a giant ass platform to go to the moon. Like,
yeah,
I
right?
don't know.
Are we pointing to four islands that make an X, and the X marks the spot to a certain place where that'll help us get to the moon? Like,
The only thing I can think of is like, I always thought Laugh-Tale was just Atlantis, basically.
At one point I did too, until we got to Fishman Island, and Fishman Island is supposed to be a representation of Atlantis.
I guess it's fair. It's just like
Much like Shandora is supposed to be the city of gold, the representation of El Dorado.
Like, where else would Laugh-Tale be if you had to go to X marks the spots? I guess you wouldn't know it's Laugh-Tale until like I guess.
I would say it's a representation of the earliest depictions of Treasure Island, where it's literally just like a big jungle island and with a giant skull in the middle, like somewhere on the island. But
yeah, you just don't know it's Laugh-Tale until like you already know, basically.
Yeah, but since we saw Beehive, like the Beehive place that Blackbeard is running, and that has a giant skull on it, I'm like, let me see. Was it called Skull Island on Treasure Island? No, not Kong Skull Island.
One Piece is all a lie. Usopp is telling Nakai. You know, that's a 300 IQ take.
Oh, that's like level 9 thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't get classic literature on this thing on Google anymore. I typed in Skull Island and all I'm getting is Kong stuff. Oh yeah, because it's literally called Skull Island. That just made me kind of mad. Okay. But yeah, One Piece is all a lie. Usopp is telling Nakaya. Oh my god.
We're getting 2 Piece up in here already.
For real. We end One Piece and it's just Usopp telling the story to his kids, and that is how I became king of the pirates. But Dad, the story was about Luffy becoming king. Yeah, I became king of the pirate. No.
It was me, Hideo.
It was me. I'm trolling. Don't listen to me. We're trying not to listen to you.
Shakespeare Silvers. You know what? I'm down with that.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
That's what the One Piece is. It's just Shakespeare plays.
It's just a bunch of literature. Okay, final topic, I guess, because we can start wrapping it up. We've been going for 2.5 hours. Jesus Christ. Last topic. Upcoming predictions for upcoming chapters and arcs.
All right.
Because I'm a big advocate of Elbaf. I know a lot of people.
I think it's almost guaranteed. At least it's gonna be in between Laugh-Tale and this arc for sure.
Oh hell yeah! I know a lot of people say that Elbaf isn't necessary at this point, but I'm like, Luffy's interested in giants. He likes to see giants, and Usopp deathly wants to go.
He needs it for his dream. I think that's probably the arc where he might accomplish it, or he knows what he needs to do to accomplish it, and will accomplish it like
the giant
similar time to where Luffy. I feel like I don't know.
Dory and Brogy were the basis for his overall dream. Because remember, when he first left, his dream was only to go out to sea.
I think Elbaf is his arc, in my opinion.
Once we met Dory and Brogy, that's where he established, I want to be a brave warrior like the giants of Elbaf. I want to be a brave warrior of the sea. And I feel like going to Elbaf is a necessity at this point.
Yeah, it is. I don't care how long it is. If it's as long as it's like a Zoe-like arc at minimum.
Yeah, minimum, bare minimum.
Because it's been foreshadowed way longer than even Wano has.
Boy,
I feel like it's so important.
As long as it's not as disappointing. Well, I'm not gonna say disappointing. As long as it's not falsely advertised the same way Wano was. And I know there will be There will be people who say, oh, it's not false advertisement, subverting expectations. No. Yamato was subverting expectations. Okay? Orochi, subverting expectations. Wano was just completely falsely advertised. Until we got here, it was always told, we always heard, strong swordsmen. Oh my god, these swordsmen are so strong. Even the Marines don't want to get close. We get the Wano. Marines don't want to get close just because of the strong swordsmen. It's because they have a border that's literally keeping people out unless you know how to get in.
Kaido.
Exactly. And they got, you have an army? We have a Kaido.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
the guy.
Wano kind of was a bit of a letdown for me. But Elbaf, I'm hoping it's the exact opposite. I'm hoping when
Yeah,
we get
I
to
agree.
Elbaf, it's we get these towering giants. We already know one of their rulers is dead because Big Mom killed him. The other one, what was it? It was Longbeard and Mountbeard and what was the other one? Treebeard?
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, right.
I'm not.
That sounds right. But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's go with it.
yeah, let's just go with that. I think Mountain Beard died because of Big Mom, and we know Loki is there. We know Loki is either the current ruler or he's still the prince. But either way, when we get there, if it's not just the hey, welcome to Elbaf thing like with Zoe, because we already have the favor of a lot of important giants.
Yeah,
We
they're going to
got
be. I feel like they're going to be another nation where they ally with the Straw Hats, like how multiple others have.
yeah, because
Like Luffy
look,
is basically uniting the world at this point.
we have the favor of their legendary captains, Dory and Brogy. They are legendary captains in that nation. We have that. We have them. We have Kashi and Oimo. I think their names were the two giants from Ennis Lobby. We got them.
I have no idea, but I know who you're talking about. I just
Yeah,
don't know their names.
yeah, and we have Stonson who Rayleigh freed from the slave auction,
Yeah,
who is now on the crew of giants that is underneath Luffy. That's a part of the Grand Fleet. Hell, we even have the Big Mom's old friend from Elbaf. I'm what was her name? Gertie or Gertrude or something like that. Something like that.
yeah.
And we have the guy who started the new giant pirates, the only pirate crew in Elbaf, or the main pirate crew to come out of Elbaf. So when we get there, I imagine we're either going to be welcomed or Loki is going to throw a fit of some kind, and we're going to have to fight, and we're going to have to fight
Loki
our way
could be a
through it.
tyrant or something like
Yeah.
Wapol.
Yeah.
I guess that's a terrible example. Like I don't know who else to compare him to. I don't want to compare him to Doflamingo. I don't want to compare him to Wapol.
Yeah, the best thing is Wapol. It in between Dofi and Wapol, because Wapol, he was a shitty ruler. Dofi was a great ruler, but he was kind of manipulative. Loki may literally just be a manipulative tyrant who's not a coward. Because the first attack that Wapol went through, he
best
ran.
of both worlds, please.
Yeah, right. Either way, I think we need to go to Elbaf. One of my hopes and dreams is Sniper Island. I mean, it's one of the only lies that Usopp has told that has never come true. And for Sniper Island, I don't know if you know about it, but I'm still holding on to my hope and dream for bounty hunters. Granted, our crew is like ridiculously strong for a single bounty hunter group to come after us. That's why I'm hoping Sniper Island is like the Jaya for bounty hunters, and it just becomes a game resort for the Straw Hats. These are the people, we go hunt them. It's a big game. Hell, I have a fan fiction that I actually wrote out for it. I hope it's a game reserve. I hope Sniper Island is a game reserve for the bounty hunters, and they're hunting the Straw Hats. And it's not just one group. It's a bunch of a fuck ton of them. It's a nation's worth of bounty hunters. They all come here to trade weapons, pick up new people, hire new people, everything. It's just all bounty hunters. Give me everything I want with bounty hunters in one arc. And that will make up for the lack of bounty hunters throughout the entire series for me. It's one arc that I absolutely
I've always
need.
talked about this. I don't think there's, like, in the New World, I would say there was a lack of, but overall, I don't think so. Alabasta was a whole saga based on bounty hunters.
Okay.
So I don't think there was a lack of, but I definitely think in the New World it's kind of skeptical. I think it's weird. But I also think if you introduce bounty hunters, it would have had to been in the beginning, just because I don't think any bounty hunter is going to be having the power to be able to take down a crew that's borderline comparable to Yonko crews. Because I think the whole point, the bounty hunters, to me, is like seeing them take down a lot of the like the shitty pirates that don't have that high of bounties, and they kind of rack those.
The thing about Alabasta and Baroque Works is that they were initially a crime syndicate with a section of them put aside as bounty hunters, as earners for the
Yeah.
organization. But because their leader was Crocodile, a pirate, they're a pirate crew. They do have bounty hunters, but they're there to earn money for the crew. So technically, they're a pirate crew. I mean, just straight up bounty hunters. And I do agree with you that that as far as we've seen, there aren't bounty hunters that are strong enough or are in the series at all that can take on an emperor. But because of the existence of Fujitora, I'm holding out. I have hope that there are characters in the series that are massively strong that are just doing nothing that are doing nothing with it.
If they just casually draft 2 characters that are as strong as like admirals, like, that's actually insane.
Yeah, right. Like I like the idea of there being.
Yeah.
I like the idea of there being ridiculously strong people out in the One Piece world who just do nothing with it. They're strong because they want to protect the people that they're around. They have loved ones. And we've seen this in One Piece. Every character in the series has a family. Hell, when in Marineford, when Kobe was hearing everyone die, he was flashing back to a bunch of Marines saying goodbye to their families to go on leave. Like to get deployed, I mean. And everybody has family. So it wouldn't be that far-fetched to find out that there are these, I'm not going to say full-on admiral level, because I still don't believe that Fujitora is of the capability that somebody like Kizaru, Aokiji, or Akainu was. Like, he's close to it, but in an ultimate fight, I think Kizaru would win that. Like, I guess you'd say 7 times out of 10.
If you think about it, technically gravity should have the edge over light, but I don't think Oda would go that scientific with it.
Yeah, right. Like uniting gravity with other elements that.
Like, I would say overall they're close enough to where it doesn't matter, but I think Oda clearly made it so those 3, the OG ones, are like very important, and they will be in the series.
Yeah.
Where I think, at least on the enemy side, and then I'm thinking that Fujitora and Green Bull are like the quote unquote good Marines.
Green Bull, I'm not sure about yet. We still haven't seen much of him.
Because I don't know what other purpose you would introduce him. We already have enough bad guys. Like, what, he hasn't really been set up. I feel like you would need proper setup for him to be evil. And
yeah,
it's
the
just
only thing that we got out of him is that
I think it'd be more unique to have like Fujitora and Green Bull knew each other.
The only thing that we've really gotten out of Green Bull is the fact that, he's arrogant. He's like a like a pompous asshole. I mean, that doesn't necessarily scream bad guy, but I mean, it could go either way. Like, he could show up and him and Smoker are best friends. To
the light, like there's been characters like not similar to that, but like the similar dynamic where like at first you meet them, they're like, oh, they're kind of dicks, but overall they're pretty chill.
Yeah, I mean, look at Kinemon when he was first introduced. He was like, he wasn't a bad guy, and because of the situation he was in, I guess we automatically just labeled him, okay, he's with us. But that interaction could have gone completely different.
Mm-hmm.
We see him and he's just sitting in the corner like, oh, fuck you people, and then look at Nami like, oh, sexy woman, ooh, take off your clothes. Yeah, that screams asshole, but not bad guy.
Yeah. What do you so I think we're both basically in the camp that we're going to Elbaf.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Sniper Island is very possible, because you're right. Usopp Lies always come into fruition. Whether I think that would be a pretty short arc, if that is an arc.
Oh, hell yeah.
But what about I think what's really interesting is like, it's really hard to predict right now, but like just the future of the Wano arc as well. I think that's actually something interesting just to briefly talk about. I feel like it's a little hard to.
Right now, the only thing that I'm predicting is the location of where Onogashima is actually going to fall. Because I think there are 2 possibilities. One, it falls in the middle of nowhere where all of the factories and everything were being built just to symbolically show we're destroying the factories that plagued this country, that diseased our land, but the symbol of our enemy is sitting right here. but at the same time, it's showing. But at the same time, especially if Yamato stays in Wano and helps to rebuild, it's a symbol of your enemy. But look at the person running it. They were on the enemy. They're the child of the enemy that's helping to that's helping to make this country better. And it's no longer a symbol. It's no longer a symbol of hate. It's more of like, how can I put it? It's more of, it's more inspiration than hate. This place used to be the base of the tyrant who ruled over us. Now it's the home of the saint who's helping to rebuild. The second option is Kaido actually succeeds and it does land on the flower capital. Like Onogashima does land on the flower capital, but if we still win, we lost the flower capital, but at the same time, it kind of represents we're doing away with the old way of Wano. We're opening the borders. Old Wano is gone. This is the new and improved Wano. We may have lost the castle that stood at the center of this entire country for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, but it's something new. It's something different. It may not be the outcome we wanted, but it's what we have, and this is what we're gonna work with. Outside of that, I really have no other predictions of where Wano could go.
I've always thought, even before like Morge has become a meme about ending in failure.
Mm-hmm.
Like ever since like the beginning of the arc, I just never, especially after Kaido one-shot at Luffy, even if Luffy trained.
Oh yeah, I didn't think that.
Everything they have, I just don't. I think it's just going to be a Crocodile version 2, where he gets some hits in, it does a good amount of damage, where it shows he improved a lot. I still think they lose.
That's the reason that I think Onogashima is actually going to land on the flower capital.
I think it's going to land on the flower capital, but I don't think it's going to mean anything. I don't think it's going to kill anybody, because I think there's going to be a Yamato and Momo moment where they're going to be the ones, or someone that's already in Wano somehow foresees what like Kaido is trying to do with Onigashima and warns citizens
it's a giant island flying through the sky. If the people in the flower capital don't see this thing coming and go, we're evacuating, even if it's nighttime and they're partying, it's a giant goddamn island. Get the hell out of there.
I don't think the island landing on the flower capital is part of that failure. I'm talking about like them just losing the fight in general, whether it lands there or not. I think they lose, and then because always in these kind of arcs with a country, and then basically they need to be unified and liberated. Luffy's always the one, or like the allies are always the one to defeat them while they're in front of all these citizens while everyone's watching. It's been a theme in like almost every arc that has happened. You could say it started all the way back in Arlong Park and moved its way forward. For the most part, at least involving these kingdoms, especially like Dressrosa, Fishman Island. You can name countless others. I'm not going to name them all.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a take that's always been regurgitated over and over again, so I don't want to go too deep into that. But I think it's definitely makes sense, because especially with how Luffy also mentioned that even after coming out of Udon, my physical strength isn't going to be much more than it is right now. While I think his hockey growth exponentially grew, but you're still lacking that physical strength. And I also think one big key factor that Luffy's missing, and it might not come into play in this fight, maybe he did figure out a way already, is to combat his lack of speed, because Kaido literally speed blitzed him.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's a big thing that I feel like people aren't talking about. I think that's more important than damage, honestly.
For the most part, I think that's why a lot of people were so big on the Luffy developing future sight, because in the flashback Rayleigh said like you're going to come across people who can even see the future, but it doesn't seem like your observation haki is going that route. And I'm still 50-50 on it. Like either way, I don't care about it. It's still observation haki. It's still a type of foresight. but I'm still 50-50 on whether or not Luffy has future sight. But regardless, his observation haki, like the battle with Katakuri to up his observation haki in any way, I think was, I mean, granted, a lot of people already believe that that fight was more of a training arc than anything, but I think that was in preparation. Like that was an early preparation for Luffy to get to this fight. Was to get to an emperor, because if you don't have that at least that level of observation haki, you will not be able to take on Kaido, especially after that speed blitz.
Yeah, even then though, even with that, like Luffy was like had incomplete future sight versus Katakuri, where I think he has it now.
A lot
and
of
he
people
still was able to
believe
combat it with Snake Man, kind of like they were at least like portrayed to show they were trading blows and stuff. Like he was able to combat it with the speed of his stretching alone. But I don't think that's enough, because even if you can perceive the future, you still have to be able to react to that future.
Exactly.
And seeing from what Kaido, like in his ridiculous speed in the manga, it was literally a speed blitz.
And in all honesty, in all honesty, Luffy's future sight, if he does have it, is nowhere near the level that Katakuri's was. And Katakuri was only able to see, what was it, 3 to 5 seconds into the future?
Luffy's normally seeing probably a minute max. At least from what we saw in Udon with Hyo, like in that training arc, it didn't seem like he was like using it to predict like way into the future like Katakuri did. I think he'll definitely probably master it by the end of the arc.
Katakuri wasn't even seeing that far. He literally, I think they literally said he was only able to see like 3 to 5 seconds into the future.
Yeah, not like literally a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you mean. But even still, if the future sight thing is such a big deal, and people and the way Katakuri is using it, and the way Luffy used it in Udon is the way that it's shown that they do have it. My biggest point that a lot of people don't want to admit to is, does Boa Sandersonia have future sight? Because if you remember when Luffy was fighting the Boa sisters back on Amazon Lily, she was laying down and she was calling out his attacks well before he threw them. That
is true. I mean, I don't see a problem with that.
Neither do I.
She does have it.
Yeah, neither do I. It's just that when it comes to haki and special haki abilities, people like to say that, first off, haki in general, people like to say only the top tiers have it, which no. If you look at the Marine ranks, if you are I believe they said it was captain or above, it was
Vice Admiral.
Vice Admiral?
Yeah, they said that the Vice Admirals have both on.
Oh yeah, in order to become like the minimal rank, I know Vice Admirals have to have haki, but I can't remember where it said. It might be Vice Admirals, but I thought it was captains where they said in order to be a captain you have to have the aptitude for at least one. But I think I might be looking at the jackets too. I think I might be looking at the jackets. Only the captains and above get to wear the jackets, or the captain coats. And I think it is Vice Admirals who have to have at least one. But even still, to say that only top tiers have it is incorrect, because there were like fodder nobodies in Dressrosa who had armament haki that was helping to push back the birdcage.
Yeah, random Big Mom children had it too.
Mm-hmm. Haki is not something that only ridiculous top tiers have. Like nameless nobodies can have it. It's just the more you develop it, the more how can I say it? The more you develop it, the more known you are. Like Katakuri, yes, he has future sight, but I don't, and given his standing in the Big Mom crew, I don't think that's far fetched. That's too far of a stretch for him to have. Boa Sandersonia, she's one of the right hands of the Empress of Amazon Lily. And I don't know how strong some people may scale Boa to be, but I put her pretty fucking up there.
Yeah,
I put her
her
pretty up
kind
there.
of hacks, bro. It's like kind of bullshit.
Even
Like,
with even without her fruit, I put her really high up there. I put her probably, if she was to be in an Emperor's crew, I'd probably make her a Calamity or a Sweet Commander.
yeah, something like that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I wouldn't make her like the strongest of all of them, obviously, but I'd put her up there.
I don't know. I think she could be though.
Hell,
just because Oda's saving her,
maybe.
man. I feel like
And
that the thing is, the more important you are to the main character, the higher your status is. Generally speaking, you're gonna be pretty powerful.
in Marineford, she was performing exactly like Mihawk. She stood back the entire time, except when she went for Luffy.
Oh
And
yeah, she also conquers.
and exactly all three forms.
She has to be outbroken.
Literally had no problem getting to Luffy. She was perfumed from. She was doing Sanji's kick course, walking through literally everybody. She was walking through everybody. She was literally walking through fucking pacifistas. No problem. Got to Luffy and said, "Here's the key."
She one-shot pacifistas like Luffy did in the post-time skip.
It took Luffy a time skip to do this.
It's crazy.
Hancock jumped and one-shot multiple of them. I put Hancock really high up there.
Yeah, it's just that we need to see more, so that's why I never rank her if I ever do. Because I think theoretically, like from what she's seen, she should be. It's just we haven't seen. I think we've seen enough, but for me, I don't think we've seen enough. That's just my take, though.
Oh yeah, David Abraham just made a good point. Amazon warriors have hockey. She must be a master at it.
Oh yeah, if they have Rio, then I don't know what the hell she has.
Amazon Lily no names have hockey, and they're not even.
All of them have hockey.
All of them have all of the warriors of Amazon Lily.
Yeah.
They have hockey. The nameless nobodies have.
I feel like
hockey.
that's the most developed country in terms of combat that we've seen.
Exactly.
Even past the samurai.
Yes. I mean,
they may be.
The old Wano, the samurai training literally incorporated armament hockey. It was literally built into their training, and I'll give that to them. But the Amazon Lily, in order to be a warrior there, whether you're using a sword, a bow and arrow, a goddamn spoon, you have armament hockey. Once you start fighting, you're going to get armament hockey. And you don't even have to be a part of the Kuja Pirates in order to have hockey. Because remember, Margaret, before the time skip, she wasn't a member of the Kuja Pirates. She was just a warrior of Amazon Lily. And
nasty.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this. Reignited my love for Hancock, man. I don't know about you, Vito, but who do you ship with Luffy? Just a random question. You don't ship?
I hate shippers. I'm not a shipper.
I used to be a massive
But
shipper.
if I had to pick, it would be Boa.
But
I don't think that's gonna happen. If that
you've
happens.
earned a lot more of my respect. Granted, I had no reason to drop you down below 100, but you're past 100. I don't know how the meter goes that way. But
I'm leveling up.
Boa Luffy, let's go. Boa
they
get
just
her
have
ass
a perfect, like their relationship and how they interact is like perfect. I love it.
She's in love with Luffy.
It's
Luffy's
so fun.
such a goddamn dimwit that he doesn't understand the concept of love.
Bro, they're gonna be shipped and Luffy won't even know it.
It'll be a Goku situation. Chi-Chi tricked him into marriage.
Chi-Chi a bitch, low key. Fuck
Chi-Chi. She forced this man to give her kids, and when he said, "I want to train him to fight," she said, "No, he's going to school." That is
you get so loaded if you're like as strong as. Imagine what if Goku really wanted. You know how loaded he'd be the richest man on the planet if he really wanted to be.
At the beginning of Super, Hercule gave him millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah,
like he just gave him millions of dollars.
Bro, he's like the protector of Earth. He should have all the money that he wants.
Bro, I hate Hercule so much.
Hercule.
He lied and said that he beat Cell. Jesus Christ.
That shit was funny though, but it was whack.
It was.
But it's also Dragon Ball, so.
I'm gonna rewatch the old Dragon Ball. Sanji X Nami, I do not like that ship.
Sanji don't deserve anybody.
Sanji, I will give him Viola. Him and Viola actually fell in love with each other.
You're right. That's the only.
I don't like Pudding, so she can fuck
Bro, I don't
off.
care about shipping going, but if I had to pick one, it's just how it is.
Stop the dumb Boa shit. She trash. Okay, we're gonna end the stream on that note. Gon, I might be taking away your mod capability. Vito, you got any parting words?
Fuck you, Gon. That's all I gotta say.
Fuck you, Gon. Fuck you, Gon. Best parting words I've had in a long time. But yo, thank you everybody for coming through on the stream. Vito, thank you for coming through. I would love, bro. Do you have that role in here?
I think so.
Do you have the YouTuber role in?
Yeah, I should.
Oh yeah, you do.
Vanguard, yeah.
Okay, you have the Vanguard role. I'm gonna be redoing my Discord soon because a lot of new people joined. I'm gonna need somebody to help me do this. I think Shadow Badger might be able to help me. But yo, bro, you have the YouTuber role. When I'm doing chapter discussions, anybody with that role can just hop into the streams chat. If you want, jump in. We can discuss for as long as possible. Bro, everybody in the stream, if everybody in the chat, if you haven't already, look in the Discord. Please go sub to Vito. He does amazing content. He actually does content. If you're sub to me but not sub to him, what the hell are you doing? All I do is streams. I don't make content. Stop it.
He'll cover you for the streams. I got you on the videos.
There we go. But yo, thank you to everybody who came through. Damn, we've been going for almost 3 hours. We're like 7 minutes shy of it. Been a while since I did this. It doesn't even feel like 3 hours. But yo,
that was fast.
Yo, everybody, thank you. Like the stream if you did. I don't even have the subscribe thing up here, but oh well.
You better sub.
Yeah, sub, please.
Better.
Yeah, you better.
We'll set 1,000.
Get Vito to 1,000. If he's not, if I get to 1,000 before Vito, there's something seriously wrong.
I'm already at 1,000.
Oh yeah, you're past 1,000. I congratulated you on that in line. If he's not at 2,000 before I get to 2,000, there's an issue. But with that being said, take it easy, everybody. Next week a chapter. We got a chapter for next week.
Yeah, I'm coming, dude.
I'm not gonna promise a video or anything because I was supposed to do one like 2 weeks ago, and that all right.